disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. Lobito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Well, welcome everybody to another BD Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. These are good friends to BDA, and I sure am glad that everybody could be on board for this one, fellas. In this episode, we got a fantastic one for you. We keep on covering the big fight. It could be the biggest fight of the year between Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. And we're going to cover all aspects of this fight, and this time we're going to be looking into a couple of clips that I've got ready here so we can analyze the Garcia vs. Tank Davis fight last evening. Check that episode out if you missed it. We delve into the characteristics of each guy, their strengths, their weaknesses in terms of who has the better hand speed, the better power, the better footwork, the better corner, that's right, corner, who can actually sustain facial damage better. And this time we're going to show you a couple of clips so we can better illustrate what it is that we are talking about. I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. Talking about the Joker, SSC in the house. Shout out to SSC, Rodrigo Davis. Shout out to him. Shout out to Julio Alcantara, I am your leader. Shout out to I'm your leader, Double L, Alejandro Solis, the Canman, Mark T, and many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you dropping by. Don't forget, if you want to check out the episodes at your leisure, you can certainly do so via Spreaker, Spotify, and iTunes as well. And if you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do it via the Super Chat feature, although it's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. All right, fellas? So, let's get started with this little brouhaha. I'm going to call a couple of people here. Hey, did you guys see the odds for this fight? I think it's something like 3-1. I think that's what it is, obviously in favor of Tank Davis. The odds makers certainly believe that, but I gotta wonder though, is the late money gonna go to Ryan Garcia? We shall see. We shall see indeed. All right, do me a favor and bear with me here. I'm inviting people. See who shows up. I see we got the Chief here. Chief, let me know if you can see. Hold on a second. I'm sharing the screen here. You guys are gonna have to tune into this one. Can you see the screen that I'm sharing here right now?
I think so. Right now I see a view of the chat, but I've also got it on my TV waiting for it to upload.
Don't do that on the TV. Don't do that. Yeah,
I'll have it on mute, but if you prefer not to, it doesn't matter. I won't have it interfere regardless.
Because if you're watching the live stream, you're going to be way behind, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, then okay, I'll just turn that off then.
Just watch it on here on the Discord, what I'm sharing. Gonzalo, are you there?
I see that overreaching screen. I see it right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, how's it going, Mr. BD?
What's up,
hey,
Gonzalo?
Gonzo.
All right, well, fellas, we're here talking about the big fight taking place on Saturday. I got a couple of clips here that we can watch. A couple of things that I want to point out about the fight. One of the things that I'm not really going to point out too much is, for example, Tank Davis' weakness. We know his weakness. He gets constantly hit by the 1-2-1 combination. That's a jab, right hand, and then followed by another jab or some sort of a... what do you call it, Gonzalo? What's the name when you throw the 1-2-1? but you sort of hook it a little bit, like an overhand left.
I think it's called a swivel jab.
Swivel jab, yes, thank you. A swivel hook, I think. It's what some other people call it. Depends. I mean, yeah, but swivel, that's the word I was looking for, yes. So I'm not going to show you that. Obviously, thank Ryan Garcia with his chin up in the air. I'm not going to show that because we know he keeps doing it. I did watch the Javier Fortuna fight before going live. He still keeps that chin up in the air, man. But this time, though, however, at least he keeps that right hand pinned to his chin. But, I mean, I don't know. Chief, I just remembered. I don't think we took down your prediction yesterday. So you want to give it today? I would encourage you to do so.
I'm not on mute, right? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I hear stalling. That's what I hear.
I don't know. I think it's a 50-50. I've been saying for a couple months now that I think that Ryan's getting better and Tank's not. And so therefore I'm leaning towards Ryan. If it's a decision, it's going to be Ryan. So Ryan by decision is going to be my official take.
I'm going to first of all, I'm going to correct a couple of things here. I'm going to put Garcia and not Ryan. I don't like it when we're on first name. No, I'm just saying. I don't like it when we're on a first name basis with fighters. We should be as professional as possible for a couple of podcasters. Because again, we're not professionals, but we strive to. So you said Garcia by decision, really? You think he's got the goods to outbox what some people call, at least Gervonta Davis calls himself. He's a self-proclaimed legend.
I think he's got the intangibles, skills, and the better corner to be able, if he can pull off the game plan, is what it's going to come down to, against a guy that appears to be supposed to be at his peak, but appears to be fading and has been regressing over the past couple of years. If Tank would have been as good as he's been when he fought, can't remember his name right now, the guy at 130 that Loma also fought.
Pedraza.
Pedraza. I would be leaning towards Tank. But because no one was saying that Cruz was really that much of a force to be reckoned with till after he fought Tank, and the last Garcia was an unheralded fighter at 135, but now looks like a force that could actually be a prime contender after he fought Tank, then these are supposed to be lesser guys, and they're giving Tank all he can handle. So I'm leaning towards Ryan.
All right. Hey, that's interesting, man. We've got, because, a lot of people out there are going, especially, listen, it's a lot of casuals too. Tank Davis. Why? Well, because he's got that dog. He's just got that dog. He's fought better competition. They don't really break it down. So the fact that you guys know your boxing and you're saying that leads me to believe that we've got a little something going here. A little something. Let me just show the people out there a little reminder of who the panelists are picking. I'm going with Garcia by stoppage. Actually, I'm going to change that to just decision. I don't believe he's going to stop him. I was exaggerating yesterday for rating sakes. I'm going to go by decision. Jimmy says Davis by 9th round stoppage. Gonzalo says Garcia by decision. He believes it's going to be an 8-4 type decision. Oh, and by the way, he said 1 knockdown for Tank, 2 for Garcia. So he's kind of like Donald Trump when he eats ice cream. He gets 2 scoops, everyone else gets 1. Recognize he's saying a draw, but he believes Garcia is going to get shafted and that he should actually be the winner, but he's going to get a draw. Bucho says Garcia by 7th round. I mean, I don't know, man. It is a PBC card. And Bucho said Garcia.
And the primary card, De La Hoya is losing steam with Golden Boy. It's not going to be a De La Hoya card. It's not going to be a Golden Boy card. It's not going to be the Zone card. They're on foreign territory. And Al's put a lot of money into Tank. Plus, like I said, he's shopping for a place to start streaming or showing his fighters. He needs to get rid of some inventory, but he doesn't want to get rid of the guys that have been giving him the most money. Tank's supposedly one of them. So he's going to do everything he can to hedge his bets to try and make sure Tank wins. That's all I can say for that.
It would appear so. I mean, I'm looking at the news here. Hold on a second. The Quack says he put me down for majority draw. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I was gonna say that I was looking at the news. I've yet to see any announcement for an Errol Spence or Deontay Wilder fight. Those are the two of the biggest names they've got in the PBC, and they haven't announced a fight yet. I mean, that's something that's incredible to me. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's some chicanery abounding this Saturday.
If I may briefly on Spence, I was just putting that on a few chat rooms today. He's 33 years old. He fought once in 20, none in 21, once in 22, and that was over a year ago. And he doesn't stay in shape in between fights. How long does anyone expect him to stay as a major player in the game? I know this show's not about Spence, but it's some questions that some fans might need to start asking themselves.
Absolutely. Never Sober says that I'm getting cold feet. Just to remind people, Never Sober picked Garcia by 8th round stoppage, and he puts in parentheses, confident. He's got that big dick confidence, let me tell you. I'm not saying he's got a big dick, because I don't know, never seen it, and I don't want to see it, but I'm just saying it's an expression. Shout out to Senpai Leo for rejoining the membership program. Shout out to him, and he says, I can see PBC letting Garcia win in the cards because they do the rematch and promote it by saying that now they are familiar, so a knockout is more likely. Okay, so he's saying that they might let Garcia slip by with a decision because then in the rematch, Tank Davis can go ahead and say, okay, yeah, I lost the decision, but I know I can knock him out because now I see his style. Double the funds, in other words. Shout out to Earl Stevens for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, I'm Mexican, but I'm going for... I'm Mexican, but I'm going for Ryan 9th round stoppage. There you go. I'm going to write that down. That's a bit of an inside joke because we were talking yesterday on What Rep. It's about these people that go, anonymous people on the internet. Man, I'm Mexican, but Davies just got too much dog. Or they go, I'm Mexican, but Garcia doesn't speak Spanish, so I'm going with Tank Davis. Like, what the just because he doesn't speak Spanish, you're gonna go for like it doesn't make any sense to me, man. But that's what Earl's saying. Earl is saying Garcia 9th round stoppage. All right, I got that written down there. All right, I've got different things open here. I'm doing multiple things at the same time. Let's go ahead with this film analysis here. Now hold on a second. The Overreaching is what hold on a second. People aren't getting hey, did you guys get a phone call or did you get it as a message on the Discord?
I got a message.
What was the question?
Hold on a second. No, forget the question. It's because this Discord,
okay.
people don't answer, and then I gotta call them back. There we go. All right. Now, I want to talk about the Overreaching here because this is a big factor for both guys. Both fighters tend to overreach. Garcia, because, I don't know, that tends to be a custom of his, and Tank Davis because, well, he's a short guy. A little bit of a way on the short end, actually. So they tend to overreach. Hold on a sec. I'm trying to do multiple things here at the same time. Give me 2 seconds here. Yeah, sorry, it's because Jimmy's not, for some reason, he's not getting the call. I'll send him the link. That way it's better. I think next time from now, it's okay, just for people to know, if I call you, I think you're still supposed to be getting the link at the same time. I think.
Yeah, I got both of them, BD.
Oh, man, this... All right, hold on.
Yeah, I think I got the same thing.
It's a good thing I'm drinking. I'm drinking today because I felt a little cranky last night, a little impatient. So I said, okay, today I'm going to get tanked. So, by the way, if I start cussing you guys out or cussing your family or whatever, just don't take it personal, right?
BDA, does the word tank have to do anything with Gervonta Davis? Or just coincidence?
What do you mean? Oh,
You
tank.
say you're going to get
tanked. Yeah. No, I'm going to get hammered, in other words. That's what I'm trying to get at. All right, shout out to Steve Finnegan for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, one of my favorite channels, much love from Philly. Well, shout out to you, Steve Finnegan. I'm glad we can entertain you guys, and thank you for your contribution, man. Hope you enjoyed today's show. All right, everybody here's on board. Let's get right down to it. Jimmy, can you see the screen I'm sharing on the Discord?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. All right, this is... And this is, Garcia is the guy that's going to have to really watch out because he's the guy that's going to have to initiate most of the exchanges, I believe. I don't think Tank Davis, if he fights the way he's been fighting lately, then it's going to be up to Garcia. He's going to be trying to time Garcia, make him run into something. Yeah. Although, fellas, I got a bit of I get the feeling that he's going to try to switch the tables on Garcia, and he's probably going to try to start quickly this time. I don't know.
That still doesn't mean his hands are going to be active. It just means he's not going to wait too long to get started. If that makes sense.
It does. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because he could start more aggressively without necessarily throwing shots, which is something that we've seen from him in the past. In fact, now that you mention it, I wanted to bring this up yesterday, that if you look at his CompuBox numbers, and I've been saying this for a long time. Let's take a look at the Isaac Cruz stats right here. And you can see that, let me just zoom in here. Davis threw 462 shots. I think that's the all-time high that he's ever thrown. And if you look at, let me take this off here. If you look at the Barrios fight, hold on a second. Yes, here indeed. The Barrios fight, which went 11 rounds, almost 12, he threw 296 shots. So he was evidently more worried about what was coming back. Like Cruz made him throw more shots. You see where I'm going? Whereas Barrios, the taller guy with the long right hand, he sort of made him become more reserved. But the point I'm trying to illustrate here is that he's not a very active guy. In fact, if you still doubt that, Gamboa, when he fought Gamboa, which went to the 12th round, but it didn't go the distance, but he almost did, 321 shots. So he's not a big active. Those are Canelo numbers for a guy in the lightweight division. And I know people are going to say, his fans go, yeah, but he still gets some knockouts though. He didn't get it against Isaac Cruz. So my question is, what happens if he can't get it against Ryan Garcia? Can he step it up? Can he switch gears? You know what I mean? That's an interesting question that I've yet to see answered from Davis.
The Cruz fight was the one fight that most people thought might have been controversial. So, I mean, I'm not going to say whether I did or not, but there are fans out there that thought that he might have gotten a slight edge in that fight that he didn't clearly win. And so he went the distance, throwing very few punches against the guy that could take his shot. Now, we think Cruz can take a better punch than Ryan, but the point is, you're not going to be able to squeak these things out all the time. You're going to have to solidify them after a while because eventually you're not going to get the nod. So then the best way to get the nod on an offensive fighter like Tank is to be offensive, letting your hands go.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying. I guess also he doesn't want to waste punches. When he throws, he wants to connect. Sometimes he'll rehearse, from what I've seen, the same punch maybe 2 or 3 times, just to get within the range and finally like land it. So for him, he will land it the first time he throws it. I think it takes a few trial and error, kind of get the distance. Then when he's in the distance, he knows he's in the distance, then he strikes. So all the punches he throws, 300, I mean, they're quality punches. They're hard punches.
Yeah, exactly. It's quality over quantity for him, but as we saw against Barrios, he almost didn't pull it off. Against Isaac Cruz, he couldn't pull it off. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens if he can't pull it off against Ryan Garcia. Speaking of Ryan Garcia, here's what I'm getting at here with him overreaching. First of all, I'm going to rewind here in slow motion now. Look at his front foot. His rear foot. So he comes in with a jab. Anybody point out what he's doing wrong here?
Yeah, he's putting his feet together. At some point in time, he's got no leg to stand on.
I mean,
well, his weight's over his front foot. His weight's over his front foot. His right hand's down. His jab wasn't. This is slow motion, but it didn't look like it was a straight. Okay, it was kind of snapping, but and then when he backs out, his feet are kind of together and he goes straight back. I mean, there's a number of things he's doing wrong there.
And if you think, well, this was in 2021, he's gotten better since then. He still does. I'm going to show you later on that he does the same mistake. But I'm just showing too that his body, as you can see, his body's always on the front foot already before he's actually. It's almost as if he wants to bite his opponent. See how he's overreaching there? I mean, that's a big bozo no. I guess the guy like Tank Davis, because Tank Davis is going to just be watching for this guy to overcommit, so he can catch him with something big.
Yeah.
Then his chin is up in the air. See, same thing here against Fortuna. Look at his back foot. He starts. I mean, what is he doing? Yeah.
He's not pivoting off of it.
But he's bringing the rear foot, and then here he throws the right, and his whole thing is to, after he throws a shot, he just wants to lean back away from the shot. But he's too close here. And he leans back and he catches that right hook. He's gonna have to be there. But now there though, he shows his reflexes. The fact he can control the distance very well, and just lean back away from the shot, and then he dips down and just smothers Fortuna. But still, it's see again there, overreaching. Now look at this clip here. Well, go ahead. Somebody go, please.
No, I'm agreeing with you so far. If Gonzo wants to go, but I was waiting for this to finish through so I could get a better read on it.
No, I was just thinking maybe Ryan Garcia. I don't really know if he likes sparring like a whole hell of a lot. I mean, he does have a lot of amateur fights. He's a professional. I'm assuming he spars, but he lives that type of life. Maybe he don't like sparring that much. He don't like getting hit. So he's kind of green when it comes to fighting. It's like more like the bobbing back and forth. It's kind of like a rhythm that he picks up with the Cobra bag. And the Cobra bags don't really hit back.
Right. I said that yesterday. You're absolutely right, Gonzo. But I mean, most of these clips are also prior to Joe getting a good handle on him. I imagine if when it comes to Joe Goosen being the trainer, if he didn't do a lot of sparring before, he does more of it now. Because Joe doesn't believe in punch mitts. He believes in shadow boxing, hitting the bags, and sparring.
Well, here's another one. He gets a lot of early stoppages. So he's knocking dudes out, and recently he's been knocking everybody out within 1 or 2 rounds.
Right.
So that's basically like inactivity by the end of the day because you hardly spend any time in the ring because you're getting these fools out early.
Yeah, Tank has been getting more rounds in lately with his knockouts, with the exception of Cruz. Cruz was, 2 fights ago? But everything else hasn't been going the distance, but the fights have been getting more rounds in. So everyone that says more experience, even though we're looking at something else, they have valid points. It's not just at a quote unquote championship level. He's got more rounds in lately than Ryan. He's also been at a championship / top contender level longer. Ryan is just basically leaving the prospect mandatory level of in his career.
You know, I get the feeling that if we know what Tank Davis's game is, which is he likes to draw his opponent in, try to counter him with something, Garcia's team has to know the same thing. They have to know that Davis is probably going to try to get him to overcommit. So hopefully he fixes that. These holes that we got here, overreaching, because as you can see here in this clip, he did catch Fortuna with the same combo that Davis gets hit with, but as you can see here against Rolly Romero, Tank Davis timed him. He got hit with some big 1-2-1s in this fight, and in this clip here, slow motion, look at how his feet are very well planted. He just catches it. And as he's catching the shot, he's already cocked with the right. He's cocking the left, and just immediately, whoom. And what do you always say, Chief? Head meets shoulder, chin meets shoulder. Well, this time it's sort of, look at that. It did. And look at how it snapped that head back.
Chin meets shoulder. Good night.
I would have liked to have seen the fight end there with a barrage. Really let Romero continue. The referee robbed us of that. Just like we got robbed of a definitive conclusion to the Joey's Zhang fight last Saturday. Real quick, shout out to Chris K for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, as a King Rai OnlyFans premium member, I got a $20 discount on the pay-per-view. Tank is more skilled, but Garcia's left hook is the equalizer, 60-40 to Tank. Oh, there we go. That's an interesting way of putting it there, Chris K. You're absolutely right. It's that I don't think Garcia is only going to win with the left hook. Because like I said, I changed my pick. I don't know if he can stop Davis. But he certainly got the combos and the hand speed to get it done. He's not as skilled as Santa Cruz, but he's got the advantage in power and speed, and he's not that far off when it comes to skill. So I give him a very good chance of pulling this fight off. Now, when it comes to the defense and the reflexes, this is why it's very difficult to fight Tank Davis because... Oh, no, excuse me. We're still on Ryan Garcia here. I wanted to just show you this clip here about something that he's going to have to do against Tank Davis because, like I said, Tank Davis is very good on the defensive. When he wants to make himself difficult to hit, he can certainly do so, although he doesn't get all that busy when it comes to offense. So what Garcia's going to have to do is quick shot, step back, quick shot, step back, don't overcommit. And here we're going to see an example of All right, so in slow motion, I'm just gonna rewind it later, but I'm gonna watch it in slow motion here first. Look at it. He goes the 1-2, right uppercut to the body, doesn't get too close. Jab, steps back, right hand, steps back. Campbell was never able to hit him with anything. I don't really. Again, we can see some of his deficiencies here with the footwork, picking the feet up like there. But still, what I'm trying to focus on here is the fact that he can throw quick shots, maintain distance, don't overcommit. That's what he's gonna have to do against Tank Davis. Anybody want to comment on these clips here?
Well, you already commented on the footwork. The leverage on the front foot when throwing the right hand. So, I mean, he's not going to have much on it. We know that. But even if you look again, he's even punching through the guard. Like, boom, bam, went right through to the body, and then comes back again. The jab's blocked, but another right hand, well, he dropped his hands in, but another right hand got through. So, and Campbell's a very competent opponent. He doesn't hit as hard as Tank Davis. I don't think either Campbell or Tank at this stage of Tank's career are elusive. But, plus, when you're a taller fighter, punching someone close to your own height, it can be easier. You can be swinging over a shorter person's head. And that's something he might have to look out for when fighting Tank. But, you're talking about the quick reflexes. The reflexes and the snap was good enough to get through Campbell's guard in the sequence.
Yeah, he makes a lot of mistakes. Ryan does. He does. But how many other fighters have we seen lately? Bernardo Lopez. I'm not going to really say Mauricio Lara, but I don't know too much about him. What I've seen is pretty good. But, they're getting the job done because they're tough. They're greedy. When they got power, they make their power count. And the opponent's like, man, really, you come in like that, but then again, he's getting hurt. The big question surrounding why he does this, Ryan Garcia, and will it affect him? Because people thinking he's going to get knocked out. So a lot is dependent on the chin. If he had a granite chin for sure, and we all knew that, it would be okay. It's like, damn, that he's going to come in there and try to blast these fools out of there. Like he's doing right there with Luke Campbell.
Yeah, I was surprised at how he was able to walk Campbell down. I mean, I sort of saw some sparring clips before the Campbell fight, and I said, he's fighting more aggressively. I wonder if that's what he's going to try to do with Campbell. And lo and behold, he did try to walk him down. Just one last look at this clip here. In this next one, I just want to highlight how he's able to control the shorter fighter there with short steps. So that's what he's going to have to do against Davis. Don't don't run around the ring. But see, he relies a lot. Both guys, actually. Both Davis and Ryan Garcia love to lean back. So there's opportunities there to... Go ahead, Jimmy. Yes.
No, I was going to say you nailed it right there. That's going to be his downfall, is the leaning back. Instead of going side to side, leaning back is just like right there, for instance, when that dude's crawling on him, you get him going backwards. See, like that's just not a good position to be in. That's why you're not going to see, you know what I mean? But because he's usually taller than everybody in his stance, and that's what he's doing. That left hook, that's his defense. Everything's trying to get people to the left. But if you can crowd him and get him moving backwards, because he stands so sideways, there's also the reason why his right foot comes up a lot when he throws a right hand. He doesn't have as much on his right hand because it's so overextended by the time it reaches its target because of his stance, and it comes up off the back. But yeah, no, that's going to be if Tank has an offense, if he becomes offensive, he's going to have to double up on his jab, get inside, and then work the ladder. But I can't stand that leaning back bullshit. But you can get away with it more when you're taller. And again, it's a trap for him. It's just like, I think I'm like, like a fucking moray eel or some, or a pufferfish. One of those, they just stay, still, and all of a sudden the fish gets right, circumference. They just suck up. You know what I mean? He's just waiting for you to get to that right spot. But that's what he's going to have to do. Tank's going to have to either be inside that or outside it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ideally, I would also say, Jimmy, if he knew how to couple together a right hand with the lead left hook, leaning back, it's pretty much like what Mayweather does. What do they call that? The pull counter? You're already like cocked and loaded when you got that shoulder back to throw it forward and release that curl hand. but he don't know how to use that because, well, I'm thinking because he goes too heavy on the front hand. That for that reason he gets a little off balance. But if he would variate that and not throw so heavy, sometimes I'm not saying if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But just to show some variation, take something off the lead hand. That way you can step with a trail, presumably maybe like a straight right with power, right? So that way you won't get balanced because he's swinging that front hand like an axe. And sometimes when you go heavy with that one, you can't go as heavy with the trail one. So that's why I said last time, maybe throw 70% on the first one. That way you can create the momentum to throw heavy with the trail hand.
And
that's what I was mentioning, the whole thing about like a cobra. You can't strike twice at the same time. You just got to like relax the body so you can strike again. Very seldomly do a fighter throws 200% punches back to back. Maybe you got to take something off of one.
And Tank's not going to be looking for I'm sure he's all trained and he's going to be all focused on that left hand. That's the hand, obviously, he's going to be concerned with. So, I hope he's worked on his right because that would be obviously beneficial for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's leaning back, Jimmy. He's leaning back, and he's not coming forward like a laser down the center. That's the problem. He's leaning back, and usually, like, his eyes will go up. So when he swings, it's a little bit like Deontay Wilder, right? Wherever your eyes are at and your elbow is tilted, it's going to follow that plane.
Yep.
Now, in this clip here, I'm just Was that true?
Go ahead, sir.
All right. In this clip, I'm just showing that again, very quick, transitioning from offense to defense. There you go. Now, this here, I'm just highlighting the hand speed because, like it or not, hand speed will play a factor in this fight. And we gave the edge to Garcia yesterday in hand speed when we were doing the comparative analysis. And here you can see something that's interesting. It's not so much the hand speed that I'm focusing on. It's the fact that he throws the combo, gets in the right hand, and then jumps back. This is something that he's been doing in the last 3 fights. He puts pressure on, but his defense is his feet. He takes a step back, and then after he jumps back, he jumps right back in to continue putting pressure, and that seems to tire his opponents. This was against Javier Fortuna, who had only been stopped by Jason Sosa, and that was after Sosa had been struggling to get him there. Now, as you can see here, Barrios did a good job of keeping Davies on the outside in some instances. You can see that Barrios, guys, let's compare again the footwork here of Garcia, and then you tell me what you see when you see Barrios, who's a bit of a lesser fighter, but you tell me who has the better footwork based on what you're watching here. This is Garcia.
I'm thinking BDA with Barrios, his feet can catch up to his hands. With Ryan, his hands are so quick, and he's much more stronger with his upper body, along with the speed that he throws, that his feet can't catch up with the hands. Therefore, he suffers from being a little bit off balance, like top heavy. I'm thinking. Right?
I agree with. Well, I don't know if that's the case. It could be. It could be the case, but he certainly seems to drag his feet more than Barrios, who, I mean, I'll just say it right now. I think he seems to have better fundamentals in terms of staying on equilibrium.
But Barrios is not that powerful, so therefore he moves his feet kind of slow, and the hands are slow too. So they're kind of balanced. They're made for one another. Ryan Garcia is too quick with the hands. It puts a lot of force forward. So his legs, like I mentioned, when he got knocked down, he disappeared off my screen. He's a little light in the ass, especially coming in at 136. He's actually a 40-pounder. That dude, that guy, he got scrawny legs. That's what I'm saying. And for a skinny guy, he's powerful, obviously, because he's a 135-pounder right now. And he's 5'11", so he got power. But anyways.
Yeah, Barrios isn't a power puncher. That isn't his thing. Where Garcia, he's like, again, everything he does is based off that left hand. The reason why he has his feet the way they are, his stance is the way it is, it's to deliver that left hand. Like that was a nice counter coming in a fool. But so he's more flat-footed. Like, see how flat-footed he is? He jumps a little. I don't like the jumping so much. But
the jumping will work in his favor if he's using it with timing to get in and out of trouble. Barrios, to me, in these clips, looks a little more flat-footed with no spring. So, like, Garcia is a little bit flat-footed when he's delivering shots to dig his toes in to get some power, but then he bounces out. Look, Barrios is just moving his feet. There's no real spring in his step when he's moving. Now, his balance between his feet is better than Ryan's. He doesn't lift his feet up, but like you said, he's not a power puncher. You guys also hit the nail on the head when it comes time for that right hand. Gonzo was saying that, Mayweather-esque, he leans back against the punch to do that he's in position to the pull counter right, but because he doesn't have the instincts his money punch isn't his right hand like it was for Floyd, he doesn't know how to, or doesn't have the instincts yet, and I don't know whether he'll develop or not, to lean back, but then use that right foot to plant and come forward with a lead right followed by a left hook against the lefty. And anytime we've had a mirror image fight, which I've talked about before, one of the things I've always talked about is who wins the foot battle. Who's going to keep their lead foot on the outside to dictate who's going to have the right angles to be able to initiate their jab, even if they're not a big jabber. You still want that lead foot on the outside because you're making everything for your opponent be on the inside. You can start hitting him with your lead hand on the outside where they can't see it. And that's what Shakura did to Valdez, and it's happened with other people. When we've talked about mirror image, Tank doesn't usually worry about it very much. If you're looking at these versus, I'm wrong. Some of these against Barrios, you're seeing his foot is on the outside, and so he's got the control. Barrios now has to do his movements outside of what he wants to do because he can't move his foot outside. Tank's already won that battle.
It'll be interesting to watch because there are clips of Ryan Garcia stepping on Luke Campbell's foot, and the referee never warned him. I don't think. I'd have to rewatch the whole fight. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution with the super chat. He says, hold on a second, that's not the right one. He says, Davis plus 5,000 versus a justice system sentencing after the fight. He's got odds on that one. Hey, we should take bets on that one, man. Maybe we could make a little money. Maybe get a finder's fee or something if we can get enough people betting on that one. Shout out to Chris K for his contribution. All right, so let's keep watching.
Yesterday, I think I made a mistake, BD. I think Tank Davis probably got the better footwork. That's a mistake, but anyway.
Well, listen, hey, I'll go back and see what we decided at the end of the day. Now, here's something that, see this clip. This is something that that Ryan Garcia is gonna want to do a lot of. He doesn't really jab much. He's gonna want to do that here. I tell you something real quick. Santa Cruz, even though he got stopped earlier than Barrios, actually did better than Barrios did consistently with his offense. He was able to catch Tank Davis with combos. He was able to set up his offense better via feints. And here, as you can see, catches him with a jab. Whoop, little step back, makes him miss. Because that's all, that's all Tank Davis is going to do. He's going to try to counter with one shot. And he's rarely going to follow up. Like, if you make him miss, he's rarely going to follow up with a combo to try to get his back. He's just going to stand there and wait until you make another mistake. Until you give him another chance. Here again. This time, boom. Just a nice tight. He didn't have time to step fully back, Santa Cruz. So all he said is, boom, caught him. He sees the punch coming. Juice. Blocks the shot. You see his head got snapped back a little bit because of the force. But ultimately, he didn't incur as much damage as he would have. See there again. Steps in, 2 jabs, makes him miss, steps right back in with the jab. Let's look at that in slow-mo. And you guys jump in whenever you want.
Step back. And what's the punch we're seeing the most coming from Tank? Especially
the left hand.
It's not just the left hand, it's the left uppercut he really loves to throw.
Yeah.
Now, he has an educated left hand, so he throws it from different angles. He throws it in different ways, and he punches off the back foot. So that's fine, but you need to be able to watch the shoulders to see how he's throwing the left. If he's dipping down towards one side, especially with that left shoulder down, it's more than likely going to be an uppercut, not be a cross. It could be a little bit of a wide left, hookish, like what Gonzo was saying yesterday. But mostly when he does that, he's loading up Zab Judah-esque for the left hook. I mean, not the left hook, the left uppercut.
But you know what? No, sorry. Sorry.
All I'm saying is Ryan needs to watch out for that. When the shoulder dips, he needs to be ready for an uppercut and put himself in position to move out of the way. What were you going to say, Gonzo?
Look, Santa Cruz is not a power puncher, and right there, Santa Cruz is jabbing with the left hand. Now, that's going to be Ryan Garcia hooking with a power hook. When Tank, if he tries to throw that left opposite of Ryan Garcia and trade left for left, that left hand up front for Ryan Garcia is gonna land because this guy likes to. He's riding an elliptical, dude. He really like loads up on that punch, and it's telegraphed. Tank Davis is slow with that punch, I think, compared to Ryan Garcia's speed. And like we were mentioning yesterday, don't have to be a whole hell lot quicker. If you're first, the other guy's fucking second. And if you don't land because he landed first and he's got power, hey, maybe it's good night for you, Irene.
Well, I used to say this.
There's no second place this whole.
It's true.
I used to say this when it came to Tyson and Holyfield. Holyfield wasn't faster than Tyson. He didn't hit harder than Tyson, but he was fast enough and he hit hard enough. And sometimes you just have to be enough to win. Tank Davis is a little slower with his left than Garcia is with his power punch, but it doesn't have to be faster. It doesn't have to be harder. It has to be fast enough and hard enough. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing we all agree with. We do believe he is fast enough and hard enough to land if Garcia gets sloppy and gives him the opportunity.
I want to give a big shout out to Soothsayer for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, Arriba Tepito, arriba los capitalinos, puro moreno, nací aquí a la verga. Well, there we go. Shout out to Soothsayer. In other words, what he's saying is he's bigging up his neighborhood and saying that there's no better alternative. In other words, a little bit like what Gonzalo said, there's no second place in Soothsayer's world. So shout out to him. I didn't know he was from Tepito. I thought he was from Guadalajara. Anyway, whatever. Shout out to Soothsayer. Thank you for your contribution, man. Really appreciate it. One thing I want to point out with this clip here, going back to what you guys were saying, if you notice too, there's a difference in the stance. Santa Cruz keeps his chin tucked in, and then, as we're gonna see later on, his go-to move is to the guard, or sometimes he would dip down. Like, let's see if we can see it here. See that he dipped like right here. He dips down. That's why Tank Davis was looking for that uppercut all night, because he knew if I throw a jab or whatever, a probing jab or something to set him up, I can set him up to go down and boom, catch him with the uppercut. And he actually, to Santa Cruz's credit, his defense, his guard was so good, his reflexes too, to go to that guard, were so good that he had to force Tank Davis to switch stances, to shift midway through the shot to catch him with that uppercut in that fantastic sequence that I think everyone's familiar with. So yeah, but that's the thing though. Garcia doesn't really do that. Let me just rewind here, just to show you a different stance. See how he likes to lean in, and then he likes to dip right back there, like there. He likes to lean back. I don't know if I have the clip here, but against Fortuna, he showed that he could block the shot quicker than he used to before. Before he was used to, lean back with his hands down. Now he actually does block shots with his hands, but he's going to have to do it against Tank Davis, because that one single shot's going to come in quick and it's going to come in hard. Just like Mr. BDA. Ask the ladies. I come in quick, but I come in hard. All right, enough of that. Let's get serious here for a moment. Where were we? So the jab. Bother Tank Davis with the jab and then step back. Make him reach in, as opposed to you having to reach in all the time. Now on the defense, here's Tank Davis. Here's where, see, this is what I'm talking about. When he wants to, he makes himself very elusive. He can pick shots off with his feet, with his gloves. He can change levels, like right there. Look at this. Dips down and then dips back up. So that even if Barrios would have launched an uppercut, Davis already sort of had an idea. Okay, there's the right. What's coming is probably the left, because he saw it moving. Very good reflexes there from Tank Davis. And you know what, fellas? This is why I say that Ryan Garcia can't go in there swinging too much early on. He's going to have to put it in his head that, okay, Tank Davis early on, he likes to play defense. I cannot get frustrated. I cannot get overconfident. Now, Gonzalo, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you said a little bit of the opposite. You think that Garcia actually has to start off quicker with the shot. How would he do that? Like when Tank Davis is doing this, like what would you tell him so that he goes in hard with hard shots, but not too wild?
I'm just saying, throw your lead left, throw your jab, and don't collapse the pocket. Keep something in reserve. That right hand, that's perfect. He's a right-hander, so obviously he can punch hard with the right hand, but he can't get too wild with it. Like Chief was saying, he can't go. And you were showing. I mean, yeah, because like Tank Davis, if Ryan Garcia lunges in, lunging in is one of the worst things you can do. Yep. A lot of people have been getting away with it lately. So it's kind of a good thing if you got the reflexes to pull it off. But once he lunges in, man, he's going to be more exposed because he doesn't have that right hand as educated as the left. So Tank's going to be glad that he collapses the pocket because now it's going to be the inside favoring him. So with Ryan Garcia, I would just keep it simple. Do what you've always done. Throw the lead left hook, but don't overcommit with it. And I guess use your jab too. And I'm not saying don't show the variation because when you fall in that pattern, and once Tank Davis starts dealing with the power more, then he's gonna start getting more brazen, and he's gonna be like, "Fuck the left hook. I'm just gonna I can take it now. I'm gonna go in." Then that's when Ryan's gonna need to show the variation. But early on, I think it's gonna be the aggression because he needs to. Honestly, B-Day, he needs to look for the knockout. That's why he can't think of making it to the final bell. This is a marathon. No, man. You need to go searching for the knockout. That's why I'm thinking that. Mm-hmm. That's the end game for me. That's what he does. For Ryan Garcia, go look for the fucking knockout. Yeah, people don't think of that sometimes.
Gooson's probably telling him that too, Gonzalo. He's probably saying, listen, don't leave it up to the judges because you're probably not going to get the nod. So I would faint the shit out of him too to see what he bites at. You know what I mean? Just to see what he's planning on doing. But you can see, even Santa Cruz, his defense was always just kind of shelling up. He was good at catching shit up his forearms and stuff, but he's there to be hit. Remember when he fought the Irishman? The kid was tattooing him all night because he didn't really move his head off the line. I think he's been carefully matched. I mean, Garcia has the tools to stop this dude. Well, or at least really hurt him. I mean, from the body, it's going to be the body attack too. Because like we said last night, he doesn't have strong abs. Even his sides right there. Look at how loose his sides were, his kidneys. Like right there when he goes to jump and you can see it shaking on him. Like when he fought Pedraza, Tank was shredded. That's when he was living the life of a fighter. Right now he's living the life of a fucking, a party dude. And the only time he's doing abs is in camp. So I'd will his body.
I'll say this,
Jimmy, a lot of people say, yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, Gonzalo. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know I don't have to be. It's just it's a habit of mine. But anyways, it's people think that Tank Davis he has the luxury to exercise the patience when they talk about him. They even compare him to Lomachenko. Oh, he downloads the information, and then once he's got the an idea of what he needs to do, like in the middle of a fight, he's gonna do what he needs to. Yeah, but right here you're facing another guy that hits just as hard as you and is quicker. So I'm thinking, man, you can't do all this shit that you were doing against your past opponents. Leo Santa Cruz, he threw once again he threw the trail hand 3 times. And not only, obviously, you throw it forward, but then you bring it back, you throw it forward, you bring it back, and you do that once again. That's 6 movements, really, where Tank Davis got to do that. With Ryan Garcia, it's one quick lift. Boom.
Yeah, I don't want to get too caught up on the left because I don't think, if Garcia wins this fight, he's going to have to win it with both hands. But I get what you're saying, that Garcia, as the taller guy, doesn't have to work as hard to get something in there. Against Davis, if he plays his cards right, because Davis too, as I'm showing here, very elusive. He makes guys work to get to him. Now, Jimmy said something very interesting that I was going to get to later in these clips here. Notice what Barrios isn't doing. He's not fainting. He's just like that, one right hand, and Davis has good enough reflexes and skill to go, okay, I'll just parry that shot. Here, okay, this, like I said, this is good defense though. but it's combinations. There's no feints coming his way. Let me show you some more clips of what I'm talking about here. See how he gets close and he starts his offense from too far away. Look at this here again, just like this lead right hook. It's like Tank Davis already saw it coming. If you're gonna touch this guy, you gotta really switch it up. Like again, there, just a lead left hook, another lead hook. Here, let's see when finally Barrios gets it right. Let me just rewind the real time here in the slow motion. See how he slowed it down. Now again, this isn't a perfect sequence because he didn't really land anything of note, but at least he got close, and you can see Tank Davis there falling off balance a little bit because he got jammed. Is the word I'm looking for. Now here, now we get here a good feint. See how he just touched him to the body and then a straight right. And this is what I get when Gonzalo says Garcia can actually work less and get more results, and then make Davis work harder to get the same results, because here he would just have to touch him. See, the lead hook isn't meant to hurt. It's always it's a throwaway shot. Just thrown quickly without any power to get him set up, and he got him in position there where he was rolling with the hook and couldn't roll away fast enough with the right.
Even that right hand he throws right there, Barrios, there's nothing on that punch. Look at, he fights to me like he fights scared. He fights like that's usually an indicator when somebody's throwing their punches from too far out because they don't want to get in close, like they question their own chin. You know, fighting is such a mental game too. And I mean, I just like, even there's nothing on that punch.
What do you mean? There's
like weights actions.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, just break it down. Why is it, when you said?
Well, see, as he's throwing the right when he should be making contact. Say you were making his butt's actually watch ready now. See his butt start coming backwards. Look at it. See it? His butt start coming back. So he's like leaning out because he's worried about what's coming back at him instead of really turning his weight over and putting on it. He's not punching through his target, basically. And that back leg swinging back around instead of turning and pivoting down on the knee. And, you know, your waist hip should be completely parallel facing him when you're making connection. And ideally, like I had, we used to call it the 6-inch punch. You know what I mean? So my elbow's never more than 6 inches away from my body. If I can make contact on your jaw, my elbow is less than 6 inches from my body or less, you're going out. I'm going to hurt you bad. That's how I used to always say it, the 6-inch punch.
And what do you guys think about any better than that, though? I mean, I understand what you're saying on its technique, but I don't think Barrios can do any better than that. That's why there's not much on it. I don't think he has a lot of power. I don't think it may be somewhat due to technique, but some of its intangibles you can't explain. It's the muscle fibers, it's the bone density, it's all sorts of things that some people do and don't have. But he is pivoting on that punch, maybe not enough. But you see his foot, you see his calf flexing, you see his knee bent. You see his hips turned. He may not have done it enough, and his form is not as good as what you were saying, Jimmy. You're right, but that's as good as he can do. Now, can Ryan throw it any better and with power remains to be seen, because Ryan's not known for his right hand. And we've seen some of these clips where he's throwing the right hand, he brought his foot up. So if Ryan has better power bringing his foot up, then that's just what Barrios is. He's not a power puncher. You know, some people just aren't.
Yeah. Well, you know, all right. I thought you were done.
No, I was done.
Oh, yeah. Like if you would see Barrios hitting the bag, I've watched him hit the bag. But like most guys, they'll have their heads almost off the bag when they're sitting there and they're winging their punches. And when his punch lands before his hips are turned over, like he should be riding that elbow closer to his body to thrust it in. I just feel like, I think that he went into that fight afraid of Tank's power. He seemed to, when I saw that fight live, that's what it reminded me when I was watching, like he's afraid of Tank's power. Some guys psych themselves out. Garcia isn't acting like he's afraid of his power at all. So, I mean, that's pretty good to see. Like, let's see how it is. I'm also concerned about Garcia because of the inactivity and not enough fights. I don't know how he's going to act. Like, there's so many intangibles you don't know. Like, when he's frustrated, what happens if he catches Tank? Because he's not going to one-shot Tank. Even if he fucking rocks him and puts him down, Tank's going to get up the first time. Tank's one of those dudes, you know, hence the name Tank. You have to put it on him. You have to beat his body, beat him to the head, He's not the type of dude you're just gonna, unless you catch him super cold in the first round or something. But he's got a little lava going. He's gonna have to double up his punches, but work his body. And anytime he doesn't have a route to escape, he's got to go to the body. So that's the key to the victory, man. Take the fucking body out.
Yeah, one thing else. Go ahead,
sir.
No, go ahead, Chief. I'll go after you.
I saw a comment because I am still watching this on the TV, even though you told me not to. Sorry, but Bushido made a comment saying, "I can't see Floyd's style working well against Southpaw." He's actually right. Floyd wouldn't use that pull counter right and everything against the Southpaw as much. He usually squared himself up and used the high guard against lefties, and because the punches are coming from different angles that don't work well, you can still use a pull counter right, but that whole Philly shell. And the way you block with your shoulders and everything doesn't work as well against the southpaw. So I want to give a shout out. Bushido just said that was good boxing knowledge there.
Well, I'll say this about the right hand here. Barrios certainly seemed a little bit too. If the combination between Davis's elusiveness and then his single shot counters certainly seemed to get Barrios spooked. Didn't happen with Santa Cruz.
Can I bring up a point, BDA, after you're finished? Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll just say this then real quick. Then Santa Cruz wasn't spooked, and he'd fought. Now, again, he was undersized compared to Barrios, but he'd fought better opposition. And let me just show you this clip that we're going to watch later on about how, see the difference between him and Barrios. He's really letting his hands go, whereas Barrios was one shot at a time. But yes, go ahead, Gonzalo.
Yeah, the reason I was mentioning it because I wanted to, that clip that you're showing right now, okay, so it's cool. You're on it, the one before. When you mentioned BDA, no, the one that was on a second ago.
Which one? When the combination or the right hand?
The throwaway lift right there. The throwaway punch. You see, that's the problem with Ryan Garcia. I mean, it's not a problem, but it becomes a problem when it comes to throwing the right hand, like Chief was alluding to. And you mentioned, okay, that's not a real shot. But what he did throw was that right that Jimmy says it's not so hard. Well, maybe it isn't, maybe it's not, but it's what he could do. It was a decent shot. Okay, so that's what the one that he meant to throw with power. With Ryan Garcia is always throwing hard with that lead left. That's why he's going to get off balance. He's not going to be able to throw that straight right with power. So what Ryan Garcia needs to do is what Mario Barrios is doing there in theory. Make your shot, your lead left a throwaway sometimes. Don't always throw with power. That way you can crank up on the trail hand. So that's what he needs to do sometimes.
Yeah, which he won't be ready for. Or he may not, I'm not saying he won't be ready for. He won't be expecting as much because when watching the videos, it's something that's not going to... You're right, Gunzo. That's completely right.
Yeah, whether he does it or not, I mean, that's something that they probably should have thought of or going to implement. Because if you throw hard with the lead hands, it's too much fucking force. It's too much of a jolt for you to really be, like I mentioned sometimes, slow as smooth as fast. For you to be able to line up that, throw it straight down the middle with just quickness and speed, right? That's going to give you the power. If he throws too heavy on the front, you're not going to be able to throw that trail. The good guy that does that is Mauricio Lara, man. I didn't realize it until I was watching his highlights. Even the corner told him, do the changeup on Warrington. Hook, change it up, straight right down the middle. Ryan Garcia, take something off the hook and go with the straight right hand so you can get the momentum on that shot. But, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. I'm just saying.
I mean, here I'm showing you some sequences from that we saw earlier, where Garcia's throwing the lead right just to score points, and he has to come back quick. He can't just languish there because he throws a right and then just stays there for a split second and gets caught. And then that's the worst thing, though, is when he gets caught, his whole head snaps back. He's got that the pompadour haircut, so the hair moves a lot more, and it seems like it's a worse shot than what it might actually be. And that's those are the shots that the audience oohs and ahs over. And those are the same shots, too, that judges get excited for because it's a clean shot. Yeah. So he has to avoid that, too.
Yeah. And BDA, something I think that Ryan Garcia suffers from is since he knows how to throw that lead left hook real quick and it gets a job done. And obviously, it's the lead hand which is very difficult to do. Get power on it because you don't turn it. The trail hand's the one you turn, so you gain more leverage on the trail. But since it's a good thing that he's got that lead left hook that he throws with power, but at the same time he's developed the bad habit since he don't turn it. He's gotten away with doing it real easy. He's developed the bad habit of not turning on the trail hand. When you were showing them clips, he wants to throw the right hand. Sorry, I meant to say right hand. He wants to throw the right hand just the same as he throws the lead left hook.
Yeah.
Basically, just trying to catch it real quick without necessarily like planting himself correctly and turning the hips into it. He just wants to cheat. He wants to use the cheat code too with the trail hand.
Yeah,
that's the bad habit is he's carried on to that trail hand.
In this sequence, you can see he does just that. See how he doesn't fully extend with the right. He just throws it almost like a throwaway shot, so that he tried to get him with the left hook. Then he missed all of that, so he says, "Let me try to catch him." Now he switches it downstairs and caught him there in the belt line, and then he stepped back. But you're right. He's an example of him just using the right to try to set up the left. He's going to have to use that right. Listen, the right doesn't necessarily have to knock. It's not just there to knock out Tank Davis, but if he can just get his attention with it and score points, that can get the job done.
He can't be to score points, but he's going to have some mustard on it to where may not buckle his knees like you said, but it needs to be a shot to where Tank's going to be like, okay, I have to watch out for more than one hand.
Exactly. Right there, the final one when he throws that right on, right here, this right hand. See how wide his feet are? That's way too wide. For the final punch it caused, and he needs to get a little more distance when he's got him against the ropes. Kind of move in a little bit closer.
Right.
I'd like to see him just a little closer on him.
Well, that's going to be
chin's way too high up in the air when throwing that body shot. Tank. Some counter punchers. Floyd would wait his turn. Floyd was not going to punch with you. When Floyd would counter, he would only counter when the coast was clear or if he could get out of the way before anyone could hit him back. He's not going to counter punch with you. Raul Marquez would counter punch with you. He'd take a shot, let you land yours first if he knew he could still land his right after. Tank will do that too. Tank will, if he doesn't worry about your power, he'll let you throw your shot, and his is coming whether you like it or not if he sees an opening, which is technically the counter. You're already throwing. He sees the opening. He's going to throw with you. And you may be getting off first, but he's still going to try and throw his shot. And if Ryan Lee bends too far with his legs too wide open, his chin up in the air, Tank is going to take a swing. So Ryan's got to be able to throw these shots without thinking he has nothing to worry about coming back.
Yeah. Can I add something also? And the reason I'm thinking that Ryan Garcia needs to be more aggressive, because I saw with Tank Davis when it came to a guy that's got speed, and many people will say that Pitbull Cruz don't got power, but at least he's got the speed. So when he's landing, you gotta be preoccupied by the punches that are coming down your way, at least to block, because there's a lot to deal with. And when you're facing a power puncher that's gonna rock your head back, snap your head back, and rock you all over the place. He's gonna pretty much bamboozle you, where it's gonna be hard to stay clear-headed. That takes away from your ability to keep it together and focus on throwing punches back, because it's very difficult. I'm thinking, right? A lot of times it's easier when a guy can't punch for you to deal with that onslaught and return fire. But I think Tank Davis showed against Pitbull Cruz, not so much Leo Santa Cruz, but it was at the same time also. But that guy can't punch. But when somebody is jarring your head back and knocking you all over the place, it's kind of hard to get your shit together to punch back, because you're getting hurt. And that's the thing. That's why I'm thinking Ryan Garcia need to be aggressive.
So I have two different fight plans that Ryan might want to, or hopefully Joe Goosen has thought about. One is the Tyson Holyfield. Throw your shots. The second they get close, both guys are going to clinch. Neither one of them are great inside fighters that keep their eyes open inside, like you've pointed out before, Gonzalo. It's not that neither one of them can. They're just, Ryan's especially not very good at this. Tank might have a little bit of an edge. But anyway, my point is, when they go to wrap up, walk him backwards. Keep him on his heels to where it starts to be programmed into his head that every time they clinch, he's automatically going to start walking backwards. to where his weight will be on his heels versus coming forward, and he won't even really realize that the momentum of the fight's going that way. But in doing so, Ryan's going to be in danger of possibly getting hit. The other one is when a Frenchman named Earl Khalid knocked out Frankie Randall. When he beat Frankie Randall, he moved around the ring and made Randall use those legs. Now, Randall was in his 30s, whereas Tank's 28. But Tank is not a perfectly in shape, healthy 28. We've talked about this. He can wear himself out by following Ryan around a bit. Now, Ryan needs to be assertive and deliberate with his movement, to where he's still putting some stuff out there to try and make Tank work harder. Not just move and let Tank cut the ring off, but make Tank work hard to catch up. And then roughly about round 3 or 4, that's when he needs to do what you're talking about. Get more aggressive. Even if you're down on the cards a little bit, you've made him expend energy he's not used to expending. Tank's not used to going the distance. He's not used to have to throw in a bunch of punches. He's not used to have to use his legs because most people try to meet him in the middle. Make him work one way or the other, whether it's aggressive, like you said, or take a few rounds like Hurtado did against Whitaker and let him use some energy out of his legs before you turn the intensity up. Those are the two game plans I see working in Ryan's favor. That doesn't mean he still won't get caught with a shot and possibly go out, but these are the ways to get him to put himself in a favorable position later in the fight.
Yeah, I think some fighters, they become more aggressive when they get hit, like for sure, and I've seen that from Ryan Garcia. I don't know about Tank Davis, if he's actually been hurt like that, but I'm thinking that if Ryan gets to him first, obviously the lead hand once again, but just by the simple fact that if he lands first at any given moment, one punch, then Tank becomes maybe half the man that he is going in. And especially him being a counter puncher, that he needs to be have a good presence of mind to get the timing of the distance, because he's a shorter dude and he's got to reach in. So he's obviously got to search for the distance and get the timing to land his punches. If he's not clear-headed because he gets socked up, that's gonna take away from his ability to implement his game plan. A counter puncher that can't think clear-headed is not gonna find the alignment that he needs.
You know, there's something else we haven't really considered in this situation. Who really pushed for this fight? Between the two fighters, who really pushed this issue of, I want this fight, let's make it happen, I'm calling him out, I want this done. According to all the reports, it was Ryan. So who's motivated and hungry to really want this fight? Allegedly, it's Ryan. Tank thinks it's just another day in the office against possibly one of the more dangerous fighters he's ever faced. And even though Tank's been in quote-unquote bigger fights because they were pay-per-view and stuff like that, this could be a bigger crowd. Where's the fight going to be? I don't remember.
Vegas.
So
this is his biggest fight for sure, all around in every gimmick.
This is his biggest fight against a crowd that's going to be pro-Ryan. Can the event possibly get to Tank here? Because Tank's always had everything his way in his favor. This is going to be the first time that they're going to be booing him, that he's not going to be welcomed, that somebody else wanted this fight more than he did. Someone else on paper appears to be hungrier than he is. All these are factors that don't even have to do with the skill that people haven't really talked about yet.
That's a great point. I think he's used to being disliked. I think he's that much of a dysfunctional character. Or maybe he's a dysfunctional character because, like you say, he's a narcissist and he wants people to like him. But that's the interesting thing, though, because the thing that people love to bring up is when we talk about the weight clause and all that, the rehydration clause is, well, Ryan Garcia agreed to it, so he has no excuse. Okay, that's one aspect of it. But we're talking about what's going to happen objectively. And objectively speaking, like you said, Ryan Garcia, according to everything we saw, the narrative that we saw play out through the media, was that Ryan Garcia kept pressing for the fight, and Tank Davis' side kept putting up these weird clauses. You don't know. We're going to get a tune-up against Hector Garcia. You don't get to fight in between. Now you got you had Tank Davis a year earlier saying Ryan Garcia's easy work. He doesn't have that dog in him. And that went from he don't got that dog to, oh shit, he kind of looks a little big. Then that morphed into, if I ever caught him using PEDs in a fight against me, it would be on in the streets. And then that finally devolved into a catch weight in a rehydration clause. So again, you can blame Ryan Garcia and say, well, he doesn't have a leg to stand on because he agreed to all the terms. Doesn't change the fact that it was Tank's side that decided to implement these weight clauses. And the counter argument to that I've heard is, well, the fight would have happened at 135 either way. So what does it matter if it's 1 pound above this time? But that it's really the rehydration clause that was asked for from Tank Davis' side. Why would they ask for that and why would they impede Ryan Garcia from getting a tune-up if he's that much of an easy piece of work? That's what makes me wonder what you brought up, Chief. It's true. It's does Tank Davis see this as just another day in the office? Is he underrating Ryan Garcia? We'll see.
I don't think they would have made the fight take so long to be made. I mean, this fucking fight it was like two unified champions. It was crazy. They started talking about this fight last August. Remember last summer, they were really like heating it up, like, oh, they're going to fight. You know what I mean? There's all these fake announcements and shit. So I think that was on purpose. Delay it. The longer, the better for him. You know what I mean? Especially when he was fighting Garcia. Hector Garcia, the kid who stopped because he had a boo-boo eye.
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't really even wanted to get into this yet, though, because we are just focusing on the fight itself. But again, it's the people that are rooting for Tank Davis. It's that those people are weird to me. I don't understand how you can root for that. Like what? So the guy that runs into pregnant women and just leaves them there. You like that guy more than Ryan Garcia because he acts a little faggy sometimes. I don't know. Maybe you should start following, Scott Adams' line of get the fuck away from them. You know what I mean? Like these people like that I don't know if they're a good fit for society. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Maybe if we do another show later on where we just focus on. I want to do a call-in show too. Get people to call in and give us their predictions. Just a nice old prediction show. But anyway, listen. Let's stick to the what we can see here. Going back to the film analysis. Hold on a second. Is everything working? Yes, it is. All right. So the defense. Okay. So back to Tank Davis' defense here. As you can see early on, he makes himself very hard to hit. He can pick shots off with his guard, changes levels, rolls with the shots. Very slippery. Very slippery. Now, as you can see, one other thing that's missing here from Barrios' side, like we said earlier, feints. There's no feints. He's just jumping in from too far away with single shots, probably telegraphing some of them. I don't know if we can slow that down later. But as you can see here, once he finally starts mixing it up, whoopsie daisy, he can be set up. Because if you notice here, just like Garcia relies on leaning back as his defensive go-to move, so does Tank Davis. And he's a shorter guy. But as you can see,
the only
here,
difference with I'm thinking VDA with him is that he can utilize that trail hand. Obviously, the left, that's his money punch, so he can load up on it when he leans back. He can really what Ryan can, he can do. Right? It's basically just cocking back. In other words, you're loading up without really unassumingly, because the opponent most likely will think that you're just trying to get away from his punch. And you're leaning back, but at the same time, right, you're just turning your body forward again.
There you go. I mean, I'm looking at Tank Davis here against Santa Cruz, and you can see that he's setting him up with some throwaway shots. Like here, for example, Tank Davis, you don't want to get into an exchange with him because he can hit hard, but Santa Cruz wasn't thinking about that. He catches him with a right hook, and very fluent combinations, by the way, from Santa Cruz. The problem with Santa Cruz is he just can't hit hard. Other than that, very well schooled, as you can see here. Look at this. He goes with the right hook, then sets it up with just another throwaway left, straight right, makes Tank Davis dip, and then he knows, okay, he's going to come in with an uppercut or a hook, but I got him set up for a boom hook there. See that? Now, if Ryan Garcia can get into exchanges and line him up for a hook like that, what could happen there?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Most likely, I think will hurt Tank Davis because yeah, he hits hard. With Leo Santa Cruz, I think he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. Because what else? If you would have ran, oh, he's boring. But actually, he gave a good fight. It was an exciting fight, I recall. There was a power out, and yeah, I went to somewhere where I can see the fight. There was a blackout over here, and it went for 5 rounds. It was during the pandemic, and even for no, it was when they first came back, the first time they had a live audience. And I remember it went 5 rounds, but all those 5 rounds, I thought, hey man, Leo Santa Cruz is winning. But ultimately, yeah, he got no power, so he was gonna get stopped, I think.
If I remember that fight correctly, when we were talking about it, Stu was still on with us at the time, and I mentioned that Holyfield Tyson situation there too of try to walk him back, and Stu actually agreed with me that that was one of his best shots is to try and keep Tank on his heels. He tried to do it in the first round, and when he went walking backwards, Tank just took and pushed him right off, and that strategy went out the window right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the fight was over, but that's when he knew that's when he knew he had to come up with a different strategy because tying up and walking back wasn't going to work. He wasn't strong enough. He was going to have to win it strictly off of his boxing ability, his movement.
You're right, man.
But why did he? Chief BDA? Why did he throw a right hand 3 times back to back? He threw it, brought it back, threw it again, brought it back, and threw it and brought it back again. That's 6 movements where the guys, dude, you give them the perfect opportunity to throw your best punch. That was kind of foolish, man. If you would have just kept it boxing behind a 1-2-1, double jab, or just a single jab, and boxing the way he was doing in the beginning, maybe he would have got knocked out, man. But that's that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying.
Well, he threw it 3 times because the opening was there. Was it smart to do? Obviously not. But then again, we're not him. We're not there. We're not in that movement. We don't know what he was thinking of how much confidence he was because he wasn't having a very hard time finding Tank. He knew he wasn't hurting him, but he may have felt he was outpointing him. Now, I was looked at the scores the other day, and I don't believe Tank was officially behind, but it looked like it might have been a somewhat competitive fight. He may have thought he was in there, and so he took some risks. And
Chief, but that's when people would say, "Oh, well, that's because Tank, he's intelligent fighter. He's setting the trap, and he's gonna get you because he reads the patterns." Well, I mean, if Leo Santa Cruz knows he can't punch like that, and Tank Davis is obviously like dealing with his punching power, he's taking the shots. Man, like Tank Davis, I don't think he's gonna be able to pull that off with Ryan. That's what I'm going with this. You can't just sit in the pocket. Oh, just because I'm hating him, just because Leo Santa Cruz was hitting him, we're gonna give credit to Tank Davis for being super smart. No, okay, I'm Tank Davis. This guy can't hurt me. Obviously, I'm gonna make him. I'm gonna make him believe like he is. Then I'm gonna line him up for my best Sunday punch, and that's what Tank did to Leo Santa Cruz. Why Leo Santa Cruz didn't see that, I don't know. But with Ryan Garcia, that's a different animal. Whether he comprehends it or not, I don't think he has to think about it too hard because when he lands, it's with power. And Tank Davis ain't gonna be sticking his face out there just to lure Garcia in just because. If that was Tank Davis's plan with Leo Santa Cruz, obviously with him he could do that. But I don't credit it to like a high IQ because all he had to do is, okay, I can take your shot. Keep doing that. That's pretty much the sucker right there is Leo Santa Cruz. With Ryan Garcia, once again, the power is for real. So when the power is for real, Tank Davis ain't gonna be showing, hey, the shot's there or not. If the shot's there, Ryan taking it, and we don't know what's gonna happen after that. There's not gonna be no 3 times in a row.
We shall see, man. I mean, that's you guys are bringing up some good points. My thing on that is, Ryan Garcia. That I'd rather listen. I'll put it this way: he's in a less of a risky position if he trades with Tank than if he just lunges in with his head up and chin up in the air and extending his chin and his body forward. That's gonna because that's all in the timing. That's what Tank Davis is looking for. He wants to time him jumping in. Once you're in an exchange, Tank Davis is liable to get hit as well, as we can see here. He doesn't throw that many combos either. It's one shot at a time. Now here is Barrios doing something that I think that we kind of saw Ryan Garcia be able to pull off earlier. So he goes with a combo that misses. Let's look at it in slow motion, though. He goes with the combo, misses, then steps back, and then boom, catches Tank Davis with a little jab there. That's what Ryan Garcia can do, actually. He might actually be able to walk Tank Davis down the way he's done with other guys. And then when the other guy wants to come, like there, he dips down, and Barrios knows, okay, he can't really hit me with anything from this position because he's squared up more than anything. So I'll just wait for him to come back and catch him. But now, like Jimmy said, Barrios really a little bit too tentative in there. Not enough confidence to really commit to that jab. But this type of strategy could work. Tank Davis just changing levels, dipping down. And what Ryan Garcia can do is throw his offense, step back to prevent being smothered, and just boom, get back to work there with a jab. And that's the other thing that I've noticed here. You guys tell me if you agree here. It seems like Tank Davis loves to dip down to avoid right hands. See that? So these are just 4 sequences that I found where Barrios goes with the right, he dips down. I don't know if he's open for an uppercut there.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. It's weird because, it works for him, but sometimes also he rolls the head. I've seen fighters, like, you usually roll to the way that you're, when you're standing, the way you can really, like, naturally turn your head, and that's generally in one direction. But when he's getting punched, where he has to roll, where his neck is too, like, he can't really, like, turn it because the way he's standing, he's still rolling into shots, like, the other direction. I don't know if I'm explaining myself too well, but anyways, yeah.
Can you replay
sometimes
that?
Sometimes you roll with the punch, and sometimes he's rolling it where there's no space to roll.
I get what you're saying. Like yeah, you mean he's stuck, he's jammed.
How close to, I'm sorry, I will wait my turn, I'll be quiet.
In other words, he's jammed is what you're saying, Gonzalo.
Yeah, like he rolls it, and it's counterintuitive to think he's going to roll that way when the punch is coming straight in that direction. And the same thing with you say when he's dipping down. It's like he's dipping down like, I don't know, man, like Billy Joe Saunders did against Canelo.
I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying. I wish we had some clips to illustrate that. Maybe later on, if you catch it in some of the later clips, let me know. We'll slow it down. But yes, Chief, go ahead, man.
Watch Tank's feet. Angle, then squared. Angled, then squared. Angled, squared. Angled, then squared.
That's a good point.
So he wins the foot battle on the outside, but like I said, when I started calling it 2 years ago, he squares his feet, he squares his shoulders. He doesn't give a partial angle for very long. Because I don't know why. I'm about to say because. I really don't know why he does that, but it's just a reaction He's squared against the ropes. Most people are squared against the ropes. I'm not going to take that, give him that. But in the middle of the ring, he squares his feet, and he squared his shoulders there. He squared his shoulders there. He squared his feet there. He squares up. He gives away his southpaw advantage sometimes, and it's because he's fighting these lesser opposition. The time Barrios gets in, not Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz didn't fall for any of this because he's a well-educated fighter. Mm-hmm. He sees it and he throws an uppercut because he's dipping and he's squared. He knows what to do there. He doesn't have any power, but he knows what to do. The smartest fighter he's faced so far has been Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
The problem is Santa Cruz couldn't capitalize on anything because he couldn't even punch a bantamweight. He was feather-fisted at bantamweight, so he wasn't going to do anything at junior lightweight. And I don't think he was necessarily ahead in the fight, but his IQ was high enough to expose some of these things. Uppercut, and then the only reason why he didn't square his feet up there, if you play at normal speed, here comes the uppercut. The uppercut sends him back on his back foot, not because he took a step back to angle himself. Tank, as good as he is against the opposition that he fights, and as much as he is good about keeping his right foot on the outside because it's his front foot, he still consistently squares up. He squares his feet. He squares his shoulders. And if he leaves this to where he needs balance shots to get his leverage on his shots against Ryan, he might be setting himself up for just balance shots, knocking himself off balance over and over again. And just like you say, when Ryan, he's not getting hurt, but it looks like his head whips straight back when he gets cut with these counter jabs. Some of these shots, if Leo Santa Cruz can make you take a step back with his uppercut, what's Ryan going to do? He's not necessarily going to hurt you, but what's he going to do to your balance? And then what's it going to look like to the judges?
Yeah, the trade-off is Santa Cruz is better skilled and at this point had a better resume than Ryan Garcia. The difference is what Garcia lacks in skills, he makes up with real power and physicality. Now, again, I'll say this. Both guys have glaring holes in their game, both Davis and Garcia, but both also have very good instincts, which is the reason why they're at the level they're at right now, which is, okay, they're not the best lightweights in the world. That's, between Lomachenko and Haney. But, compared to the rest of the pugs out there, they're top 10 dudes, upper top 10 guys in the lightweight division. And I'll say this, man. In this clip that we were watching, Tank Davis, he's got his weight on his heels there, which is why that little tap sent him off balance. Now, I want to go back to the last clip of this batch here. This is very impressive because he's able to make Barrios miss with a three-punch combination, and he's able to shift at the same time. But notice that for us, like what I've been saying since the beginning, he's very good at making himself slippery when he wants to, but he's in no position to counter here. See where I'm going? Here, he's dipping down. His weight is on the back. That's why he's sort of falling backward, and he has to shift again here. He can't counter from this position.
Because square again.
Right.
He's moving like the Matrix when they're shooting him with bullets.
Exactly. It's impressive from a reflexive standpoint. but he can't, that's what I'm saying about Tank Davis. He can't really, he doesn't usually, either he's playing defense 100% or he's playing defense and offense with one shot at a time. And I think Garcia,
BDA, he's moving a little bit like that guy. Who's that guy, Chief, that fought Mayweather, the drunken master?
Oh, Emmanuel Burton.
Oh, yeah.
Emmanuel Burton.
He went by two last names.
I think BDA just said it.
Can you guys hear me?
BDA?
Can you get Emmanuel Burton?
Yeah, a little muffled.
Emmanuel Burton.
That's him.
Emmanuel Burton right there. All he needs to do is like a little shuffle with the feet, and there you go. That's Emmanuel Burton style right there.
Very good, man. I like this is, good to watch the defense, but like I said, there's nothing coming back. So and it's a big if.
That's right.
If Ryan Garcia can work his positioning correctly, in other words, what I'm trying to get at is if he can keep Davis in this position more often than not, he's got a very good chance of pulling off a decision. Now, one thing that I want to see, I love body punching. Anybody that's watched this channel long enough knows that I love me some body shots. And Tank Davis, when he wants to, being the shorter guy and a power puncher, can work the body, but he doesn't do it all that often for some reason. Again, it's because he's content to throw one shot at a time. But here against Hector Luis Garcia, he feinted real quickly as if he was going to throw the left, stepped inside, boom, right to the body. But that was really just more of a throwaway shot to catch him with a left hand there. But here, he actually, as you can see here, again, feint with the left, makes him react, steps in, right hook to the body. Now, one thing I don't really understand is why most guys, most southpaws, or even orthodox fighters don't punch, don't work the right side of the body. They all want to always go with the left hook, to the liver, but they don't really want to work the right side. Why is that? Anybody know?
Well, I mean, the liver's on the right side of the body, which is where when you're facing him, that's the offensive guy's left. There's no real organ on the right side that's going to cause someone to bend over and go down because the ribs are protected by the rib cage, or the lungs are protected by the rib cage. So there's no real organ over there on that side that's going to make a person drop, except for the kidneys, which is a foul. So, and that's also in your back. So that's my theory. I don't know this scientifically. Well, scientifically, I know where the liver is. So that part I'm right on. But I don't know.
You're right.
I don't know if an actual training philosophy of you go there because the liver and you don't go to the other side because there's nothing there. The liver will make you drop if you hit it and you jar it right. So that's my theory on that. I don't have much more to go on than the fact that we all know that if you get caught in the liver just right, you can go down for a little bit, and it just shuts your body down for a second. So,
but what I'm saying is
for a left-hander,
No, go ahead.
Yeah, for a left-hander, it's kind of difficult because you really have to develop that right hand to the body. And if, like Chief was mentioning his theory, that if there's no organ and people see, there's 5 punches that can knock you out in boxing. It's to the chin, to the two sides of the chin, the liver, and the pit of the stomach. And the tempo shot will shake you up. But yeah, in front of the chin, the two sides, the pit of the stomach, and the liver. The tempo shot might shake you up and possibly knock you out sometime. But to the kidneys, not so much. So for one, a left-hander wouldn't want to spend a lot of time developing that shot. For one, it's difficult. It's like throwing a nifty lead right uppercut. I mean, for a southpaw, it's real difficult to get like leverage on it. The same could be said about a right-hander. To throw a lead left uppercut is kind of difficult. To throw a lead left to the body, it's kind of difficult for a right-hander too, because you don't get a lot of leverage to turn the shot over. The one you're turning from, that's just my theory. And for one, if you ain't knocking fools out with that punch, why would you develop it? It'd be like kind of a waste of time. So the lack of developing it makes you not really practice it.
I get what you're saying.
Opinion.
I'll tell you, my thing though is I think working the right side of the body pays off dividends. I mean, obviously, like Chief was saying, that the liver's on the left side. Excuse me, the liver's on the right side. But working the left side of the body, I mean, Shane Mosley used to do that a lot with the right hand. He would just punish the left side of the body. Nate Campbell too. It seems to me like whether you're hitting the liver, whether you are or not hitting the liver, you're still hitting flesh, and you're still wearing a guy downstairs, taking away his legs. I'd like to see fighters really. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you don't even need to catch directly on the liver. Obviously, a good shot to the liver will make you feel like your legs go completely numb. But just sometimes you just have to graze the stomach. It's a weird organ to punch. What happens if you punch, say you throw a right, you're an orthodox fighter, and the guy's kind of squared up, got his back against the ropes. And if you just, instead of thudding into the left side, come across his abdomen and hit across the stomach. And it's almost like the difference from getting hit directly in the balls or just getting your balls swiped. Like, you know what I mean? Just catch it. You know what I mean? It's like, and it just hurts more. Yeah, you can push your stomach up in your solar plexus. But yeah, no, a shot to the right side, the left side of the stomach can cause damage. And plus, it just takes more out of you. And if you're constantly flexing your abs, keeping, ready for the body shot. And again, that's another whole thing about why it's so important to be doing ab work all year round. You're a fighter, because you don't have to concentrate so much. Like, he's going to tighten up every time he feels a shot coming to his stomach. But that's why the body work is crucial. If, in my opinion, if Garcia has any chance of winning this, because he's going to slow him down. He's not going to be doing a lot of the shit if he's, taking shots at the body. But again, we'll notice a lot by just how he reacts. Anytime he gets him in a position where he only can go out left or right. Like Barrios, every time Barrios had Davis against the ropes or back close to the ropes, he would throw his 1-2 or one shot and then back out. He would just like, okay, you can go any way you want now. It was just, he fought so tentative. You know what I mean? I don't see a goose and trained fighter making those mistakes, but we'll see.
Yeah, and here I'm just going to show more clips of Tank Davis working the body. This is against Barrios. This is the shot that finally did Barrios in. Left uppercut to the plexus. And that's, we talk about the liver. Sometimes it's a shot down in the plexus, right down the middle, that can get people in trouble. Now, Garcia pulling back. This is a big bozo no-no. As you can see here, we pointed it out a little bit earlier, but here it is again. This is that gazelle punch from Fortuna. Now, the mistake here from Garcia, it appears to me, is that he opens himself up to try to catch his opponent with a counter left, but this time Fortuna caught him in between. And notice how Fortuna also got close he got into range real quickly here, like boom. See how he opened up his stance there, or his leg stance rather, and then boom, caught him. Now, there's not much in that shot. See how extended and straight that arm is? That's more of a slap than anything. But still, you gotta wonder if he can get hit with this shot, and then we got here, boom, Tank Davis doing that to Barrios. What do you guys see here?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Luke Campbell punch, but from the opposite hand.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Campbell really reached out and touched Ryan Garcia, but this one was like even more subtle because it's the lead hand. Oh man, the carbon copy. Where do you find these clips, 3D?
Well, it's just watching them, man. Just watching them.
Ryan, gotta be careful.
Very careful.
If Ryan's hands aren't up and he's not able, if he sees Tank closing in and isn't able to keep his hands up and or move back, not straight back, but just move out of the way, whether it's straight back with the hands out of range, then yeah, that's one of the things a lot of people are thinking is going to happen. That's going to turn the fight. And I'm not going to argue with anybody that says that. There's little reason to think that punch won't affect Ryan. Even though we've only seen him hurt clearly one time against Campbell, Tank's supposed to got one punch turnaround power, and that could be a punch that if he's not ready for and doesn't watch for, if he's only looking for the left and doesn't consider the fact that the right hand winning the foot battle, outside punch comes from where you can't see it. If Ryan's not thinking about that the people they're picking against Ryan, that's what they're thinking about, and that's what they're right about.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just, yeah, go ahead, Gonzalo.
No, it's just that's the way you should lunge in. If you do, you lunge in with the lead because you got the trail hand to protect you. There's nothing wrong with lunging in, but a lot of fools will lunge in with the trail hand, and I'm thinking that's dangerous. But that's a cool little punch from Tank Davis. Obviously, Barrios was near the end; he was hurt already, so he had an opportunity to throw that. But yeah, Tank Davis got to watch out for that shot.
That's the other thing, that just bad fundamentals. Like we've been seeing, both guys like to lean back from shots, and here Barrios is not exempt from that. Well, actually, he didn't lean back, but he drops the lead hand. Look at that. It's like, why are you dropping your hands? That's what Chief said. If Ryan Garcia has to know that if the shorter guy gets within his private area, not private area, his what's the word I'm looking for here? Private space. If he gets into your punching range, put your hands up. But here Barrios with a bad custom there, dropping that left. Tank Davis, though, is also open for the left hand because he is the shorter guy, and as such, he has to lunge in as well. And here I'm just going to show you. Okay, so in that sequence, he, like I said, look at how he leans back away from the shots, drops his hands, and caught a left foot there in the on the temple rather. Now that didn't seem to shake him up too much, although we don't know. But here we see Ryan Garcia there. Look at that machine gun combo. And he hit that shot on more or less on the temple, not necessarily on the chin. So both guys have what I'm getting at is both guys have the type of power that doesn't necessarily have to hit on the chin. If they hit the guy on the temple, they got heavy hands, which can discombobulate a guy and shake him up real bad. So just as Garcia has to watch out for that power, so too does Tank Davis. And here we see him lunging in, catching a right, but the right is not what I was worried about. He's wide open for a counter left hook there. See that? He's reaching in for that left and drops his right hand and sticks his chin in out. So he's got holes too, man. Don't get it twisted. As many holes as Garcia, perhaps not, but holes nevertheless. And here is, see, a lot of people talk about Garcia when he stopped Campbell, but they forget that he hurt him too in the end of the 6th round. Now, can anybody really comment on how Garcia was able to land his left foot and why he was able to? Oh, and look at that too. What am I talking about here? Look at this. On the temple. See that? Not on the chin, on the temple.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Go ahead, Gonzo. I know what I'm going to say.
It's interesting it's interesting. The hook, it's like he's swinging a baseball bat. You can tell it's heavy. Like in the end of the punch, like a mallet, man. And how he turns it down, it definitely got power. That's all I want to say, Chief.
I'll say this.
What I was going to say is in this sequence where he's hitting Campbell, we know Tank's got a pretty good punch, but Ryan's foot's off the ground when he lands that hook. His left foot is off the ground.
Yeah, you're right.
And it still had that power with it. So, yeah, Tank may have a good chin, but Ryan's snap and the power in that hook, it's a little unusual. That's not typical. You're really not usually going to be able to stagger anyone, let alone a contender, even though, not to be too critical of Campbell, he's more of like an A- B+ level fighter. But he's a solid contender. You're usually not going to be able to hurt a guy with a punch when your foot's not grounded, especially the lead foot leaning back. So that power in that hook is real. And even though Tank may be able to take several of these because he has almost no neck and seems like a solid jaw, how many is he going to be able to take if Ryan's able to keep this consistent counterpunching with Tank coming in? You know, we already know the fact that if Tank really catches clean, especially with overhand left on Ryan, none of us are here thinking the fact that there's a possibility that Ryan's at least not going down and possibly out, or if he gets up, that Tank's going to finish him soon after. But how many of these is Tank going to be able to take if Ryan's catching him coming in on a regular basis? And these are the questions we have, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
And Chief, not only that, people think that that the left hand, if you take away the left hand, that's all Ryan got. It's easy peasy. It's gonna be, it favors Tank. Well, it's not only that he uses the left hand; he's got enough on the right hand to distract you with it, and to throw a throwaway shot with the right hand to anchor a power punch to basically load up on the fucking left hand once again. So he can throw that right, and you're thinking right hand. He just got leverage on the left hand, and whether it was a throwaway shot or not, he could put some respect on it too, and throw the left and use the right to throw the left. So the right's also a useful tool that complements the left. It's not always left, left, left. And people think that all of a sudden if you take away the left, well, yeah, you take away the left, but then he's gonna hit you with the right. And then when you're thinking that right hand's got enough coming in, well, he's already loaded on the left with the movement he did with the right arm. He swung into position, right? He got some momentum on it.
I mean, if he can do that, yeah, that's the ultimate aim and goal of every fighter out there, that you can get one guy, you get the guy overthinking about one shot and then you catch him with another. What I like about this sequence, though, here as well, is that he was able to step away from the left hand, made Campbell miss, made him overcommit, caught him with the left, and then at the same time with his foot, lead foot, which was off the ground when he caught Campbell with the hook, as Chief pointed out, he was able to put that lead foot back so that he could change angles and let Campbell go forward without Ryan Garcia smothering him. And then that's when he tried to attack, and that's what happened there. Here Garcia again catching him with that counter left and then trying to punch through. Here I just got a couple of random clips. Here's Hector Garcia was doing this a lot, which was he was feinting and trying to catch Tank Davis with body shots. That was straight low a little bit. But nevertheless, that's what Garcia, like Jimmy said earlier, feint. Both guys have to feint, but especially Ryan Garcia, because as we saw earlier, Tank Davis likes to make himself very slippery. He likes to change levels, make himself shorter. And so it's going to behoove Garcia not to overcommit early on, or not to get frustrated, rather, and keep playing the feint game as well. This here,
Straight punches, too. Even, obviously his check hooks, his money punch, but just when he does throw his punches, throw them straight. Tank winds everything up. Even his uppercuts don't come except for the one like he directly caught on Santa Cruz, but by then Santa Cruz was just shoe shining, and Tank was literally catching the punches off his face because they had nothing on him. So he was just lining them up, trying to get that Instagram knockout. But you watch most of Tank's, they have a little bit of an arc on them. Almost all of them. Very seldom do any of his punches come directly straight. The straightest punch will get there sooner. So that's why Garcia should throw straight lefts and rights too.
Absolutely. And that's why Tank Davis, because he gets away with that because he's so quick. Now here, I'm just highlighting the fact that whenever Tank Davis gets close, Like here, he does the same thing that Garcia does. He pulls back straight up. Look at that. Gets hit there by Santa Cruz. Here, he just goes back into a straight line, trying to deflect the shots, but he's just leaning back. See there in the last sequence. Okay, so he made Santa Cruz miss with every shot here. That's good. Here again, deflects it with his rear hand, but then ultimately, boom, gets caught. That's because he's just leaning back with his hands down. You can only do that for so long before the sixth shot actually gets to you. Here again.
Hey,
as well.
BDA, on the bright side, if they're both leaning back, the fight probably won't end in a headbutt or a cut.
Hey, that's
That's a good point.
Because I was looking at the
And
glass
they
half
should be
full.
stepping on each other's feet.
Exactly. See there again here. He's just leaning back. He's up close and then gets away in a straight line, chain up in the air, and gets caught. He's lucky Santa Cruz is not a big puncher. But then here again, this is Ryan Garcia against Luke Campbell, just going in there straight with a jab, lifts his chin up in the air, gets lined up with a left hand. His head snaps all the way back. It's like, does this guy have a pencil neck or what's going on here? Why does his head get snapped all the way back like that? Or is it the haircut that I mentioned earlier that makes it seem as if, no, that's the head.
Let's
No,
go.
he's got a pencil neck. Chief, what do you think? I think he does.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think that if they're not doing some neck training to try and absorb the shock a little bit better, he's in trouble. I'm not changing my pick. I still think that Ryan can pull off this distance win, but if Joe hasn't fixed any of these things and Ryan's not focusing on his game, thinking he can take punches like he could against Campbell, then all the people picking against my pick are going to be completely correct, and Ryan might be, getting oxygen to wake him up for the interview. But at the same time, the hungrier fighter here, the hungrier fighter is obviously Ryan. He campaigned for this fight. He wanted this fight. I don't think Tank didn't want this fight, but he thinks, like I said earlier, I think it's another day in the office. Ryan wants to win this fight. So allegedly, he's been putting the work in for this. And if this fight's been talked about since August and they all know it's been going to happen, then he's been working with, even if he hasn't had a fight, he's been working with Joe for a while. So we should be expecting improvements. Whereas Tank has shown he has not been improving in any of his fights, even if he's been winning. He hasn't done anything extra. He's not going to get any better. What he is what he is. And any bad habits he's formed along the way, I've said this before, you've been showing previews of his last, 5 fights. And again, I've said since I first started calling this fight, this show, he squares his shoulders, he squares his feet. He hasn't fixed that. He's 28 years old. He drops his hands. None of these things he's fixed. Now, can Ryan capitalize on them? There's a big question. But all these flaws he's had since well before you guys ever knew me. And he hasn't fixed any of them. That's the reason why I'm leaning towards Ryan.
Yeah, and it's because he hasn't had to, man. He's been feasting on Vegas odds, no-hopers. I mean, everybody he fights, he's the heavily favored fighter. Like, heavily favored. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the odds against Isaac Cruz. They were huge. Huge. They gave that kid no shot because of his past fight when he was on Showtime's Showbox. That was the last time or the only time I ever saw him on ESPN. And then even Barrios. Barrios was coming off a gift win after he got his fucking ears boxed in from a kid with 7 fights. I mean, Hector Garcia, talented kid. He quit for whatever reason. Yeah, my eye, man, and my eye was sore. What? The fuck is that? My eye was sore. Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
And then he goes, yeah, no, it's fine now. Because he tells him because Jim Gray kind of gave him a look like he was like, yeah, my eye, but it's good now.
Yeah, that was after some fools. That was after some fools interrupted because they wanted to get a fighter and ringside, and they took a long break in between. I don't know, a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, to your point there, Gonzalo, J Nels in the chat. Shout out to J Nels for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, any bets on the fight not finishing because of violence in the crowd? I mean, it is a Tank fight. Yeah, I mean, listen, when Tank Davis does attract the the undesirables. We already saw that in the last fight where they. By the way, that fight against Hector Luis Garcia, they should. Even if people are fighting in the crowds, you do not stop the fight unless there's a shooting or a bomb or the fan man gets halfway into the ring and halfway on the crowd. You don't stop the fight. I don't know why they halted that fight, because there was a confrontation in the crowd. So if I'm Ryan Garcia, though, yeah, I get myself 1 or 2 bodyguards, maybe get some people from that. What's the name of that mercenary group in the United States? The contractors. BlackRock, yeah, get some BlackRock bodyguards, because you just never know. On the other hand, like somebody else mentioned, these tickets are expensive, but that doesn't prevent any rappers and their crazy entourages from getting into the fight. So if I were Ryan Garcia, I wouldn't take any risks. That's all I'm saying. But shout out to J Nails for calling it. Yeah,
there's been shootings at 2 of his last 3 fights. There was a shooting at Barclays that's what caused the stampede, where 10 people were hospitalized with serious injuries.
Whoa.
So, yeah, because there was gunfire outside Barclays.
Damn. Well, yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Ryan Garcia has to watch out, man. You just never know. You just never know what's going to happen. What else?
I was going to mention something, BD, in regards to what Chief was talking about and the clips you brought up, that when he's dipping low, he's squared up, and he's not in a position to punch because his body is not ready to punch. He's like moving out in the way, dipping, like plummeting straight down, like doing a squat. So he's not coming back up and is not in the correct position. And for a guy that throws 300 punches and is a counter puncher and looking for that right opportunity to land with the power, dude, that's little punches. And if you're not in position to punch and for a 3-minute round, there's a lot of room in between where you're not doing nothing. That's basically when Ryan has an opportunity to knock you out, man. That's what I'm thinking. He throws more punches and he throws equally as hard, but he's going to throw more of them.
We shall see. Both guys have a very good shot. Like, that's interesting thing when, like, we were talking about before, when somebody makes a pick, there's people out there that think, oh, you're picking that guy, that means you don't give the other guy any chance of winning. It's like, nah, man, sometimes you take a risk, and you pull the trigger for one guy. Doesn't mean you're not giving the other guy a shot. So again, people tend to see things black and white.
This generation, you pick a fighter means you don't like the other guy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's the most bizarre thing. Oh, you hate him? You're just a hater. What do you mean hate? I don't like or hate either one of them. I don't fucking know them. But this way, I care about as much about them as they care about me. You know what I mean? Just a sport. The fuck?
Absolutely.
It's so true, man. They get so emotionally involved.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. At the end of the day, it's a sport, man. I mean, I take this BDH channel to get away from the second Renaissance. The shit that we do on the second Renaissance, if you spend too much time reading the news or doom scrolling, like some people said, you need a space like this, BDH boxing, to and the sport of boxing, to get away from all of that seriousness going on in the world. Here, I just want to highlight something, too. We were talking about last night about who had the better jab. I still contend that neither man has that great a jab. So what they got to rely on is their lead hand to probe. And this is what Tank Davis got to do against the taller guy. See, just because the other guy is taller doesn't mean he's the superior fencer. And as you can see here, Tank Davis was able to use that lead hand sort of as a jab. And not only to score points and wear down Barrios, but also set him up for that gazelle hook that we saw earlier when he dropped him in the 8th. Now, here's my thing, guys. Why did Barrios, how does he allow Tank to get so close to him? And how does Ryan prevent Tank Davis from getting close?
I mean, he's going to be able to collapse a pocket. Tank Davis, mostly in any fight, both fighters are going to get an opportunity to land their shots. But whether Tank Davis gets the full extension and full coverage to land his power shots, can he really like step inside, deep inside? That's what remains to be seen. Because he's going to land some, but whether he lands his most perfect, best punch, the punch that's going to that would really like knock anybody out. Because really, Tank Davis hit that hard that he would knock anybody out if you give him a free shot. But if he is landing half pardonly, not perfectly, he's not gonna like possibly knock Ryan out. But if he does land perfect, he will. So it's not a matter where he can step in. Can he step in correctly and in the right moment? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're right. You're right because I mean, neither guy is knocking guys out cold. I mean, if you look at Ryan Garcia, the way he stopped Fortuna, he actually had to drop him, I think, 3 times before the referee finally waved it off. So yeah, neither guy, and even like for example, Tank Davis when he stopped, what's his name, Romero, they could have let the fight continue. It's just the referee made a call where he said, "I don't want this guy getting hurt." You know, like hurt.
That was
which, I mean,
that was a bogus stop. That was a PBC stop, which is becoming. It's almost every fight I watch now. Over this past weekend, it was the same with the last fight. Same thing. Fight stopped, and I thought prematurely. Ref stepped in and stopped prematurely all the time now.
well, it was a doctor, I think.
Crazy.
You talk about the Zhang fight.
Zhang, and then the fights before that. I actually tweeted out, but somebody else said it. I just copied it. It was somebody on the show I was listening to. They said, "Fucking, if Mickey Ward Toragati happened today in England, the ref would have stopped it on the ring walk."
I mean, it's true, man. I mean, yeah, the doctor stopped the Joyce fight. I didn't see the other ones, but yeah, man. I mean, listen,
the Joyce fight. Well, the doctor gave it up to the ref because he said to him, remember the doctor would have said no, and then the ref would have turned and on advice from doctor or on advice from physician, the fight was stopped. No, he said, I know, totally your call. And then the ref gave him another good look. And it's like, Doc, what do you mean? You brought him to tell me if you can see from his eye. You're the doctor, shit stain. Fuck you mean? When I bring him to you, you're telling me. If you're saying he can continue, he can continue. It was the most bizarre thing. Oh, you make the call. And then that's when the ref looked at it again and said, no, never mind. But Joe Joyce didn't build up much of a stink, did he?
That's a good point.
Which kind of confusing.
Speaking of that, I don't understand. Like they stopped the fight. The way these people frame it is the justification for stopping a fight when a guy has a swollen eye is because he's unable to see from that eye. Therefore, he's unable to defend himself properly, and therefore they stop the fight. Or sometimes they say, well, the injury could get worse, like in the instance of a cut. Therefore, we got to stop the fight. But they don't stop fights over broken hands. Like if a guy tells his corner, "Hey, my hand's broken," he still has a chance to continue, whether he wants to or not. I mean, depending on whether he wants to or not. They don't do the same thing with the eye, and I'm thinking, why not? I mean, on the one hand, one guy can't see the punch coming, and on the other hand, the guy can't use another hand. In other words, can't launch. Yeah, so why not just let him go, even if his eye's fucked up?
Especially from a bottom swell. I can't remember the last time I seen a ref stop a fight or a doctor stop a fight because of a bottom swell. I mean, usually it's when you got that ham hock hanging over your eye. Because you know what I mean? Because when you're fighting, you're looking up through the tops of your eyes. You know what I'm saying? So when you get a bottom swell like that, you still can see. Because when the doctor gave, first he went 1, and then he went 1 again, because he says, "Tell me how many fingers you see." And the doctor, covered his left eye, and then put up 1 finger, then he put up 2 and went right back to 1 and then 1 again. And you could read Joyce's lips. He was saying what he saw. His eye was no more swollen when he asked him again. It was like, "Oh, this is looking really sore, man. I wouldn't want this happening." It's like, dude, shut the fuck up, man. They're boxers. They get punched in the face for a living. They sign up for this shit. Oh,
I guess the doctor, Jimmy.
Yeah. Right?
I guess the doctor was like, "Hey, the guy's so slow like a sloth. You know he's gonna get hit with more left hands. So I'm just gonna call it."
I think honestly, my opinion, I think it was the way Joyce was answering him. I think Joyce seemed detest and dejected. How many fingers you see? 1, 2. Like he was just shoulders slouched. He was eating that fucking thing like somebody on that same podcast, the guy said Zhang threw a punch out his back door the next day and caught fucking Joyce in the right eye. I mean, like he couldn't stop hitting him with that fucking punch, and Joyce knew it. It was bad, and so I think Joyce wanted out of that fight. That's why he didn't go like, "No, did you see him the minute he called him over?" Like, if you want to continue fighting, the minute the ref says time and he starts calling the doctor up to the apron, you're telling him, "Dude, what are you doing?" You're getting his attention and you're making sure people can see, like pulling the left shoulder. Like, guy, no, I want to fight. Let's go. And as the dark, darks come up, no, I can see Doc. Like, you want to fight. At no time did he act like that. He just kind of, like, the doctor pulled him around by his wrist. He walked over to the doctor. Yeah, one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my perception.
And he waved it off, and it was it.
That was the perception and the feeling that I got. But again, we don't know. I'd like to. The only way they're going to settle this is if there's a rematch, and I think there is, from what I heard. So hopefully we see a rematch. We can talk a little bit more about that later on. We're almost done here with this film analysis.
Hey, one last thing, Jimmy. I think maybe Daniel Dubois was like grinning. Yeah, I got you. Eye for an eye, no, 2 for a 2.
Hey, don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really helps us out here.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I don't know what they're doing. That's what I'd like to know. Hopefully they can let us know in the chat what they're not doing. And by the way,
you got 2 thumbs. You can't put one on a like button?
Exactly. And if you got those busy, you still got your toes, or maybe if you're a guy, you got something in between. Like me, I can work with what I've got in between my legs, if you know what I mean. It's that big and strong. Hey, by the way, if you look at Rolly Romero here, one thing, he's not good at leading, that's for sure. But one thing he knew was to counter real quickly. He knew to stay away from Tank Davis. And Tank Davis, he wasn't really catching him with lead when he was leading. And one thing Rolly does have is quick hands. And he was able to catch Tank Davis. Like Davis couldn't really gauge the hand speed there too much from an orthodox guy like Romero. And this is the sequence that I was talking about yesterday. Because some people, again, you tell them about the video and they don't understand because maybe they haven't watched the whole fight or something. The classic 1-2-1 that always gets Tank Davis in trouble. He caught him there, and then look at how he goes for that takedown there. He goes up and then goes back down here for another takedown. That means he was hurt. Like, he wanted out of that sequence. And then I can show you the whole sequence because it's more than 5 seconds, but afterwards here you'll see he dropped to the ground if you play it, if you have the fight available. So he was hurt in that one. And that could have easily been counted as a knockdown, but this referee, for whatever reason, decided not to. Still, like I said,
it was Tank. He was the house fighter, without a doubt. Yeah, no, he hurt him a couple of times, without a doubt. He was winning that fight, but he's so fucking slow. Like, he did the same move 3 times in a row before Tank finally caught him with that uppercut. And he could have continued. That fight was stopped too soon too.
Yeah.
That kid ain't got enough brains in his head to be scrambled that long.
Oh, come on, man. Why are you always making fun of Rolly Romero for being a retard, man? Come on, man. He seems like a competent fighter. Let's put it that way. But I will say this. Here I'm just showing you clips of Tank Davis when like I said, when he wants to make himself slippery, he makes himself very hard to hit. He can keep guys turning. Here he caught him with a catch, with a counter hook, and then at the same time, or immediately afterwards, pivoted away. There he caught him with a nice left. Here again, making him miss. Look at that. Those are reflexes and agility. Look at how he crosses his feet, but he's able to do it in a way. Look at that. It keeps him turning. Rolly Romero away. I don't like the fact that he moved way too much there. Like, he could have just retaken the center of the ring, but it's whatever. Here you see the same thing from Ryan Garcia. Good reflexes. And this is what he's going to have to do, like we were saying earlier, when he catches a guy with a jab, or Tank Davis in this instance. If he catches him with a jab, step right back real quick. Put your hands up too. That doesn't hurt. Here he catches him with his money punch.
Tank was moving like that because he was failing those punches.
Yeah,
that's why he was moving around so much. He was failing them motherfuckers. That rah-rah can fucking crack.
He does, man. He's got what they call retard strength. He's got that going for him. And here Ryan Garcia catching Tagoe with his money punch, the left hook. So he's got this one patted down. So he goes in there. He shows him the guard because he wants him to throw something. So he sees the shot coming, just leans back and whacks him there with the left hook. Good thing Tagoe was rolling away from it, because if he would have caught that flush on the temple, he might have gone down the way he did before. Now here again, this is something that I don't like about Garcia. Like I said in the beginning of the when we were watching the clips, how he drags his back leg. Look at this. What the hell's he doing here?
Yep. Plus both hands go down. He drops his right, but he throws his left, what I don't like a lot. He brings it down to his chest.
Mm-hmm. Look at this. You still have it. And he's not shifting. Somebody could say, no, he's shifting. No, he's not shifting. He's just overshooting the target. or overshooting the runway, as I like to say. Here is, I'd like to see Tank Davis work the body more, but he also has to be conscious not to get into too many exchanges because he's right there in line. Okay, this is the last clip. Check this out. Let me play in slow motion. He catches him, sort of. No, that shot was blocked. It's just Santa Cruz was moved by the velocity. That hook got in. He has to work with that hand more. Then Santa Cruz wasn't scared to trade with Tank Davis. He got caught with that one and then came right back with a combo. See that? He loves to throw that left hook in between his combinations. He finishes the combos with the left hook. And then here, Tank Davis gets away from the shot. Whoops, hands down. But he was able to make a miss. But then again, goes back to his money punch, the uppercut, and whoopsie daisy, open for a left hook. So if neither guy really was going to want to trade because they can get hurt in the exchanges, but you can see that Tank Davis is open for a left hook there as well. He's not going to want to trade too much with Ryan Garcia either. Ryan Garcia can crack. Say what you want about his footwork. Say that you want he's a queer or whatever. Guy can crack with a left hook. And in exchanges, a good left hook. Well, that's what people say. I'm just repeating what people say to you. So he can get here. So what do you guys make of all of this? Like this sequence, you guys got anything to point out? No,
I don't know why I'm a couple of like, I realize I'm not directly on you. Like I'm caught up like fast forward wise. So I think I might be talking on things. Maybe it's just a little bit of a drag, even if it's a few seconds. I'm seeing exactly what you're seeing now, but because when you started saying Santa Cruz, I was still seeing the guys. I was still seeing the other guy fight, but now I'm caught up. So yeah, no, just nothing. He had no respect for Santa Cruz's power by then. You know what I mean? It was the fourth round or what round was it? But yeah, it was the later in the rounds. Santa Cruz hasn't cracked up much. His shoe shines.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember. When you fight a power puncher and you're not a big puncher to begin with, you punch even less because you know that's not your game. So his plan was accumulation. I was going to outbox him. He knew he wasn't going to knock out Tank. He had no chance of that happening.
You know that left uppercut that he threw right there. I mean, they're both trading, and the action is in slow motion, but in real time, it's hella fast.
Yeah,
that was a cool combination. That was a cool exchange from both fighters. Tank Davis, I mentioned it before. He's usually going to seek to land that uppercut. So basically, what I'm trying to say is he's not going to land the very first one that he throws. So it should behoove Joe Goostin and Ryan Garcia. If this dude's throwing the uppercut, he's trying to like get it into range. He's trying to land it. And the thing with the uppercut, it's a very dangerous punch because it comes from underneath. You don't see it coming. But at the same time, it's like I'm saying, it's going to be very hard for him to land the very, very first uppercut that he throws because it's a very narrow target going up. It's basically the body vertically. So basically, it's just like a small window, like the size of the head in the upwards direction. So it's a very slender target, very easy to miss, but very, very deadly if it catches you because you don't see it. And if it hurts you, it's gonna even pop your head back up, and you could follow it up with the right hook. If you're Tank Davis, yeah. But I'm saying if you know Tank Davis is throwing the uppercuts, he's usually gonna miss the very first, unless you're Juan Manuel Marquez. But hey, that was a different. He starts shooting fucking uppercuts. Hey, Ryan Garcia, don't stay in the pocket too long, dude. He better be on his P's and Q's.
Yeah, definitely is going to have to mind his P's and Q's in this fight. Both guys, really. It's an interesting fight because I don't even know if the winner fights. I mean, I don't even know if they can make the winner of this fight and pit him against the winner of Loma versus Haney. You get the sense that Top Rank is happy where they're at right now, that if Haney wins, I mean, either guy wins, they're matching him up with Shakur Stevenson. And with Tank Davis, I mean, let's say he wins. They've been saying it for the past 6 years. We don't want to make fights with other companies. We want to keep things in-house, as if they're making muffins or something. You know, they make everything in-house. So now that if he wins, and you got to figure that the winner of this fight really becomes one of the faces of boxing. Imagine now if he's got some star power, what's he gonna do? I'm telling you, they're probably banking on Romero, or they got their fingers crossed that Romero beats Puello, and that way they make Tank Davis versus Romero too. It's like I don't see them trying to make an overture to Top Rank to get the winner of Haney versus Lomachenko. I just don't see it.
That's what makes this fight suck for me. Is where does it go? What's it lead to?
Exactly.
You know, there's no narrative being built. Not like either one of them are going to try to fight the champions. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're not even sticking around in the division. They're both moving up. You know, Tank Davis only fighting Ryan because he's getting him at 136, but really, he's already fought at 140. Maybe he stays at 35, but I don't think he'll fight Haney because he don't want to give him no clout. That's the thing with these divas, man. If one loses, they see themselves as like canceling each other. This is why I give credit to these two guys, because one moves on and like as a superstar, and the other kind of takes a back seat. But they're more popular, and Haney isn't. And I think they just like, for example, Tank. I think he relishes the fact that the other guy ain't as popular as he is, and Devin Haney's probably like hating and saying, "Dude, I'm better than you, but you won't give me no shine."
Mm-hmm.
But as regards to Ryan Garcia, I think he moves up to 140.
I think so too. Yeah, there's no reason why this fight couldn't have been made at 140, other than the fact that Tank Davis's team, for whatever reason, didn't want it there. I guess it seems like they're not that confident in the fight at 140. By the way, shout out to Pugilism in the chat. He says Tank Matias is the fight in demand, and PR Boxing Machine needs to wake up so we can get that fight. Yeah, I listen. A lot of hardcore fans want to see that fight, but I don't see it happening. I don't see the PBC putting him in there against Matias. It's just I don't think there's that much money in there, and that's why they're making in part the Ryan Garcia fight. That's why they're willing to go outside of the PBC to make it, because they know there's beaucoup money in that fight.
Well, they had to, Mr. BDA. This fight being made has more to do with what happened at Showtime than people lead on or realize. They would have been just as happy with what's been going on, because how much of a sample size we need to see. His best-selling pay-per-view was against Romero, and that barely did over 200,000. So that's the only fight he's ever had that's cracked 200,000 pay-per-views, and he sells tickets in certain urban areas, although they do lie about having sellouts. That's not even up to debate. Capacity for boxing in Atlanta is 21,000. They announced attendance was 14,700, and they called it a sellout. I'm like, it's a third empty, the whole top bowl. They just blocked it off, and then they did it when all of a sudden the next time he fought, it was 16,130, I believe, and that's a sellout. It's like, wow, they added 2,000 seats since the last sellout. It's such a fucking joke. It's just like because of Ellaby, because they know the people who they want to believe it aren't going to check it. So they just say things. Oh, fucking, they lie through media. Oh, he sold 275, 300,000 pay-per-views. He sold out another arena. Or actually, Elway, what he did was Barkley, the basketball player. Place looks sold out. You heard it right. You heard it from Myron Barkley. Place is a sellout. I'm like, wait a minute. So this ex-NBA fucking lot ass is now the attendance expert? What the fuck are you saying? But again, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors with this dude. And so the first person he's fought, let's be honest. I mean, this kid's a fucking, I say it all the time, a win away from prospect. I mean, you know what I mean? His fans are like fucking, it's just funny because the same dudes who've been calling fucking this like a fucking bum, you know, just completely bashing the shit out of Garcia, how terrible he was for 2 years. And now all of a sudden, it's like, so you've already, don't you know what you're doing in your own fight is fucking, so what are you going to say now? Wow, my guy's the best. You see that great win? What, against the guy you've been calling a shitbird for fucking 2 years? It's just, I don't know. I kind of fucking, that's why I don't want to see him win. I don't like his fan base because to me, they're not boxing fans. It's a whole other different thing going on there. And he's not a good person.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Mayweather learned that real quick when it comes time for quality of opposition because, well, like against Shane Mosley, we knew he was old. He was 38 years old, but Floyd's like, no, he's not too old. He's not too old. Because if you discredit him and make him sound like, well, for instance, when he called Gotti a C-class fighter for all those times when they went to fight, now everybody's saying, well, you beat a C-class fighter. He learned his lesson real quick that if you don't build up your opponents just enough, then everyone's going to realize they're going to believe what you say, and you're fighting C-class opposition. How good were you really?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, man.
And Gotti was burnt. Dude was doing fucking blow, like weeks before the fight, not months, weeks before they fought. If probably not that same week. Listen, that was all about the money. He knew he had no chance to win that fight. His legs were gone before he fought him.
By the way,
I know we're going off track a little bit, but I think they wanted to cash in with they got Leonard Doreen. I think they wanted like 2 or 3 more fights, like one with possibly Paul Spadafore and somebody else to pad his bank account a little bit more. And somewhere along the way, HBO was offering good money, and I think they realized that Gotti didn't have enough left in the tank to get all those fights and still be ready for a Mayweather fight.
There you go, man. Yeah. Hey, by the way, there's a new development going on last night. Apparently, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis was online with some Twitch guy, some video game. I think it's a video game Twitch guy. Apparently he just got banned from Twitch. I read today. I didn't know who he was, but Tank was interacting with this guy, and then Ryan Garcia jumped on the live, and apparently they're betting their entire purse, their entire paycheck on the fight. Check this out.
Yo, you want to bet?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm down.
The whole
Let's
purse.
do it. The whole purse.
Yeah, you hear that? That's a bet.
Yes, let's bet. You hear me on the live? Let's bet.
So everything
For sure.
that you. So you
I know. Let's
go.
Let's make a contract. Let's sign it both.
By the way, Ryan Garcia driving and streaming at the same time, that's a big no-no. Here in Canada, that's illegal against the law. And I would have actually, if I would have seen him doing this, I might have actually stepped in, strapped him out, got him out of the car and effectuated a citizen's arrest. Because he can get hurt somebody doing this. Maybe that's what Tank Davis was aiming for. It's like, hey, I ran over a bunch of people. I'll get you to run over people. That way we're even. And you can't use that against me. I don't know. Maybe he's playing 4D chess that way.
Do it.
We here at BDA do not condone people driving and doing text messaging and other such activities on their phones while they're driving their cars.
Exactly. There you go. Thank you, Chief.
If you don't,
really want it,
call him up. We getting paid.
Maybe BDA want to pull him over and be like, all right, kid, spread your legs.
No. Wait a minute.
Now, who got kicked? Now, you said he got kicked off of Twitch?
No, the guy that, do you see what I'm showing here?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I see that, dude.
So the guy in pink who's jumping up and down like a maniac, he just recently got banned from Twitch. I don't know why.
Why was he jumping up and down like he just fucking his first son was just born? Over what? because these dudes are betting?
Like I said, yeah, because they're betting. But check this out. Listen to this.
We getting paid.
I mean, he's just jumping up and down and makes screeching. I mean, I guess that's what makes for entertainment on Twitch now. And then check this out. You look at Ryan Garcia's face there, he's like, boy, oh boy, why did I jump in this live?
You sure?
Jesus Christ.
Ryan, are you sure?
I don't speak twice for myself. You already know.
Your boy Aiden think you gonna do something.
I know.
You gonna win.
I am gonna win.
Well, there you go. I don't know.
Is that what they call chimping out, BDA?
I mean, maybe that's why they banned him from Twitch. I don't know, but listen, is that even legal? By the way, that would the commissions allow for them to bet their entire purses, or is there something against the code of ethics on that? Anybody know?
I don't think so, because I've seen other fighters bet on themselves.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
It's not a team. It's a one man. It's not a team. It's an individual sport. So maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, team sports, you can't bet at all. If you get kicked out of the baseball if they found out like you were betting on your team to win. Yeah, you're gone. Like that's the reason why Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. He never bet on his team to lose. You would think that might have had something to do with it because obviously you're betting to lose. There's ways you can affect that. But if you're betting for your team to win, I mean, I don't understand why they ever can. But anyways, no, so it's not against the law. They can do whatever they want with their money. But there's no legal ramification if he says, go fuck yourself. How is he going to collect it?
He reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? Remember that whole brouhaha between the Furies and Jake Paul? Where Jake Paul said,
exactly.
Let's bet.
I was thinking the same thing.
But you know what happened there, man? They're very sneaky from the Furies. They said, like, when Jake Paul said, let's bet the paycheck and all that, it was John Fury who said, let's do it. and you could see Tommy Fury look back at him like, what the fuck? Like, you're answering for me? So now he was on the line for that. But there was another clip where after that, what happened afterwards, apparently the polls went up to the Furies and said, let's put it on paper. And John Fury didn't want to, which was very sneaky because it's almost like, all right, listen, if we win, we'll hold you to it. But if we lose, we'll come back with the whole thing of, well, it wasn't on paper. That's why.
Exactly. And he did try to collect on it too. Remember?
Exactly,
he made a big stink about it after the fight.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So they're very sneaky, man. That's why, stereotypes exist for a reason. I didn't want to believe that. But now I'm starting to see, like, when they go after the gypsies and they say, be careful with these British gypsies, they're very savvy that way. We'll just leave it at that. They're very savvy when it comes to weaseling out of certain things. And by the way, shout out to, hold on, let me see shout out to Anthony Lopez, who said, Ryan is having a Daryl Brooks moment. No. Well, actually, yeah, if you're on the phone, that's what can happen. You're going to run into a bunch of people, so better stay off the phone while you're driving. Just focus all your attention on the driving. And by the way, fellas, when you drive, are you one of those people that keep your both hands on the steering wheel, or are you one of those, what do they call it, 90-degree, or what's that called when you just keep one hand on the wheel?
I drive with my knees all the time. I drive all the time with no hands, coffee in one, a cigarette in the other. Dude, I drove all the way from my house to the Hampton Beach with a 75, with an Oldsmobile, on a bet that I wouldn't touch the fucking wheel. Once I got on the fucking on University Ave, street over from my mother's house, I made it all the way to Hampton Beach, just my legs. I'm great at it, using my knee. Yeah, dude.
I drive on my hands on the 9-3 or 10-2, and I put my seat all the way to the front like an old lady because I'm just like that. I got to be concentrated. I get distracted real easy.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah. I was just laughing. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm trying to get some comments in here. Life and Logic says, I never wear pink. I mean, that's some people can pull it off, but I would not. I would dissuade men from wearing pink. And I know that nowadays we're living in the world of gender is a social construct and this and that, but pink, it's not. You don't want to go with that. That's all I'm saying.
Pink was big in the fluorescent colors of the 80s.
Yeah.
They were like a lot of pink, but it was a muted pink. Hot pink was for chicks, like maybe a muted pink, like a soft pink and shit. But you know, if you're in shape too, if you're a scrawny looking fucking dude or a fat puke, yeah, if you're wearing pink, you look like a doofus. But a jacked up dude with a polo shirt and a 20-inch arm, people aren't usually going to mention the pink. But yeah, I like a soft pink, but not a fucking bright pink.
Yeah, Miguel Cotto be loving that pink, right?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he walks around in fucking female slippers. For real, dude. Slippers.
He's a metrosexual, huh?
Yeah, dude, like the kind with the fuzzy slippers that you slide your feet into would have had a little clog on them. These were definitely, you didn't buy them motherfuckers in the men's section. I'm telling you that right now. And he had a robe on too, dude. That's one of his fights, man.
Yeah, remember when he used to make out with that fat dude? He used to make out with that fat dude, and then the white side was okay.
Yeah, that was weird, man. That was a whole weird thing that with the Cotto. I remember the first time when Butcher got me into YouTube boxing, and I remember I checked out some of the videos, and there was one video. It's so funny. I don't think it's up anymore, but the title of the video was, Is Miguel Cotto gay? Does he like cock? That was the title of the video. It just cracked me up, and I said, yeah, I think I'm going to stay here on YouTube. Real quick.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if he does, that's one tough fucking silly rabbit. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, it's something that, listen, that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. I don't judge. I just don't want to.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to go have a beer. You can go bounce some balls off your chin. Whatever. It's cool. As long as you can throw hands like that. Fuck.
Exactly.
And the wife was like cucking. She was encouraging Miguel Cotto and the fat dude to like be butt buddies. Like, hey, you guys.
Cool. She probably got turned on by that shit.
Oh, come on. How can a woman be turned on by that? It's anyway,
some chicks do.
I mean,
never know. You never know what drives freaks. Freaks for a freak for a reason.
Hey, by the way,
I know if a chick ever told me to suck a dick, man, she'd be that'd be the last time I would be with her.
There you go. You got standards. That's good. Mark T says, this guy in the pink probably sniffed tank seed afterwards. Arturo Martinez says, those are tank sexuals. Pound for Pound King says, look at Tank with his head down. Yeah, he looked embarrassed. Life and Logic says the guy in the pink is acting like he's the one fighting. Yeah, you gotta hate those type of people, man. The ones that are doing the backseat talking. It's like, what you gonna do, man? What you gonna do? It's like, hey, are you gonna fight or are you just gonna talk? It's like, remember that dude? Remember that one confrontation the interaction that Daniel Jacobs and Jermol Charlo had about 5 years ago, and where Jacob pulled up to Charlo and said, "What's up? When are we gonna do this?" And there was one guy, Charlo's friend, talking. He was the one talking the most, whereas Charlo was just like, he seemed confused about what to do. So yeah, you got to watch out for those, like Woody Gonzalez says, all my little tankamaniacs, take your vitamins. Yeah, the tankamaniacs, yeah, it's people doing the backseat talking. You got to watch out for those. They'll get you in trouble, man. And they won't help you out if a fist fight ensues.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark G.
And Tank's he's not a fucking literal genius, so he's not a wordsmith, so he doesn't do too well. I'll tell you who's actually a slick talker, who's good at the name game and the fucking is Keyshawn Davis. He's got a quick tongue on him. He's a funny prick when he wants to be.
He's got a good knee too, to knee fighters when they're down. By the way, Mark G in the chat says the guy in the pink was in the movie Good Burger. In the movie Good Burger, he looks like the guy from Good Burger. Yeah, he's right, man.
That's fucking funny.
Oh, he probably gets a hard on when he hears that somebody mentioned Good Burger. Can I take your order? Hey, let me see this clip here. See what's going on here. Maybe it's an extended clip.
Oh my god, that's funny.
You about to get knocked out, Ryan? So look at this kid. Yo, Ryan,
Look at me by myself, though. By myself. By myself.
You said what?
Look at all you guys. I'm by myself. Just did the work. Yeah, over here.
Give a
Over
fuck,
there, he's
nigga.
playing games.
I'm
I'm going right at him. I'm going right at you. You're playing games. I put the work in already today. I'm focused on the day. You ain't ready for me. You can't even talk. Pause. You on pause right now. You on pause. Shut up. I'm going to work you.
Hey, you're right, Jimmy. He's not a wordsmith. Look at him stuttering there. What the fuck's going on, man? Just talk over the guy. This is my advice to anybody. If somebody's talking, you talk over him. Don't wait for the other guy to finish. Just fucking talk over him, because then you look like you're conceding something to the other guy in this type of trash talking.
Yeah, that dude fucking jumping around. What a clown. Fuck you, dude.
He's screeching and jumping up and down. It's like, what the fuck, man?
What you want to bet? What do you want to bet?
The whole thing. The whole thing.
Everything's already on the line. Let's go.
No.
It's all on the line.
Get that nigga, bro.
Let's go. Didn't he just...
Okay, what's going on here, man? He's grabbing his dick now.
The whole thing.
Everything's already on the line. Let's go.
No.
It's all on the line.
Get that nigga.
It's all on the line. It's all on the line.
Get that nigga.
That fucking dude's got to throw some bass in his voice. What the fuck? Screechy motherfucker.
Yeah, there's helium in the room or something. I don't know what's going on.
Didn't he just hear
Look at that.
what I said? Everything's on the line anyway.
Look at him, man.
Nigga, back the purse, nigga.
This is embarrassing, man. If I were Ryan Garcia, I'd been embarrassed to just be in sharing the same space in the electrosphere, the internet sphere with these fellas.
I would have said, yo, Pinky, how much did you pay in fucking tax last year?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
You talking over there? I don't know who that is.
Who you?
Look at Tank Davis. You got to give Tank Davis credit. He's the one that's relaxed. It's the other guy that's acting like the little chihuahua.
Who are you talking over there? You talking over there? Over there. Over there. Over there. Over there. Over there. Over there. I don't know who that is.
Who you? Who you? Bet the purse. Bet the purse.
Holy shit. This is embarrassing. I got to stop this. I'm cringing.
What did he say? I don't even know who this is. And then the kid goes, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm the kid people are buying a pay-per-view to see, dude. You're the one who's going to be doing a 5 to 7 over the next 2. Shut up.
Well, I mean, that's the interesting thing, though. Apparently, this guy's from Twitch, and like I said, from what I read, he got kicked off of Twitch. Can he convert? What happens if you're mostly streaming on Twitch? What's the alternative? Like, how can he transfer his viewership onto something else? Hold on, let me see. What's the name of that guy, fellas, in the chat? Somebody mentioned it. I think Stray G Turo mentioned it. Hold on, let me see.
Oh, so he's an influencer of some kind, a gamer.
Yeah, I hate that term, by the way, influencer. It's like,
Andrew Tate.
No. This dude there from the guy that looks like he's from Good Burger. His name is Kai Cenat. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And yes, indeed, this guy's such a big name. It even made the BBC. Kai Cenat banned from streaming platform. Oh boy. So what's he gonna do now?
What was he banned for? Did it say?
Yeah, I think they say it because he was jumping up and down and screeching like a maniac. No, I'm kidding. It says the Senat became one of the biggest names. Twitch followers, the basic. It doesn't say. What the fuck? It could be. You know what? It could be a ploy. He might have actually nuked his own channel just for. But it doesn't say. And now a message appears when visiting his channel says it's temporary. Okay, temporarily unavailable due to temporarily. So he's not banned completely. He's got some hope left. Again,
that's a big thing for the game. That's why I said gaming, because that's the space people go into gaming.
Yeah, that's a big thing though. Yeah, people love to watch that. It's interesting. Officer 50,
imagine how fucked up your life's got to be that you're not even playing the game, dude. Like you go on a website to watch other people play a video game.
I mean, listen, Jimmy, it's a completely different generation. I mean, I don't besmirch it for it. If they can make, you're talking. Wait, hold on. You're talking about the people watching.
Yeah. Like how sad can your life be? That's a part of your fucking program that you're gonna go watch some other dude play video games.
Well, look,
you sad motherfucker.
I agree with you, but hey, there's something out there for everybody. I don't besmirch people too much for that. Recognizing the chat says the clown next to Tank thinks that Ryan Garcia is attractive. That's why he's grabbing himself. I mean, come on, man. What the hell? King KO says, why is Tank's boyfriend touching himself? What a weirdo. Yeah, that's definitely sus behavior, as the youngins like to say nowadays. Fury Ruin Wilder says
cap.
That's that's the other one. That's the other one they like to say. That's cap, MF. No cap, no bussing. I don't know what else they say.
Keep it a buck.
What did Big Baby Miller say this weekend? I'm nice. Or
I'm nice. Yeah, that's a little suspect too when I hear that. That I've heard that people say, "Oh yeah, Keyshawn Davis, he's nice," and you see their breathing getting heavier. I go, okay, what's going on here, man? I'm gonna have to get out of this fucking stream. The other thing is, Fury Ruin Wilder says Haney's a fairy. Okay, everyone's a fairy to him. When Weedy Gonzalez says he started off as a gamer, now he's an influencer. Well, there you go. So that's what's going on there.
Who the fuck does he influence?
All the right people. All the right people. That's for sure.
I guess so, huh?
Well, hey, listen.
I'm sure he's got some real nuggets of wisdom.
I think Jim is being sarcastic. I'm not sure here. I just finished my second glass of rum and coke. Delicious. I hadn't drank in a while, so I'm certainly feeling the effects right here. Fellas, this was a nice show. It was a nice little relaxed show. We got through some clips. You know what's interesting? Just from a mathematical perspective, the clips that I had were 5 minutes long. That was the whole package, was 5 minutes, and it took us about 2.5 hours to get through them. That's a good thing. That means we had a lot to, because I was actually afraid that 5 minutes wasn't going to be enough. But then I said, no, I think it's going to. Because if I was calculating, if Jimmy jumps in, if Gonzalo jumps in, and if Recognize jumps in, that's going to be enough. I wasn't sure about Chief, because he was MIA for a while. And then on top of that,
I was out of the country.
Yeah, I remember you told me that you were on a little bit of a vacation. So good to have you back, man. And good to have you guys on here as well. Thank you for being on. You guys broke a lot of things down.
Thank you very much for having me, as always, sir. And you know that I love it, and I'm grateful that you ever invited me to begin with.
Absolutely, man. And listen, shout out to you fellas. You certainly broke it down. It's always fun to interact with you. Same thing goes for everybody in the chat. Oh, thank you guys for dropping by. Everybody donated the super chat as well. I think Bucho, he might do an episode tomorrow. That's right. We're just getting started with this Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis coverage. Tomorrow's show might be more of a call-in show to really get people involved. If he doesn't do it, then I might do it. We'll see how it works. I really want to try to do a open lines weekday show, not just on Friday. Although Friday, the plan is that right after the weigh-in, we're going to be doing an open lines show. That means anybody's welcome, everybody's welcome, and that means it's going to be pandemonium. I just got to warn people. It's not going to be today's show where we're breaking everything down, nitty-gritty and all that. Don't expect that on Friday. All right? It might get a little chaotic. Also, what else? So tomorrow might be a call-in show so we can get everyone's predictions. We'll see what happens. Fluffy Toasters 89 says BDA is nice. Oh, come on. See what you guys started with on the fucking chat? People with the gay lingo now. Shadow Combat says BDA is drinking his own piss. He's drinking his own piss Marcus style. Yeah, you're never going to catch me doing that, Shadow Combat. That's too much. That was a big... Memo Heredia, say what you want about the guy in the PEDs and all that, but he is certainly knowledgeable when it comes to nutrition. He said there's no benefit to drinking your own urine. Is that, you guys agree with that? Or
it's actually toxic. Urine is just, it's all toxin. That's the reason why, if like you're lost in sea, or in a desert, you drink your own urine, it'll kill you.
Yeah, you're told
there
not
you
to
go.
do that. It's
Exactly.
It's getting rid of the toxins in your body. There are extra vitamins in there. He is right. Marquez was right about that. There is like the excess vitamins that you don't need. Your body is getting rid of, but it's also the excess salt, the toxins and things like that. It's not good for you. And like Jimmy said, and as I know firsthand from being a retired sailor, you do not drink anything too salty. Period. Whether it's your urine or anything else, because it causes mental fatigue. It causes hallucinations, and on top of that, it's just not. It's bad for your health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
think it's just Mexican, like, what is it? Not Mexican folklore, superstition. Not even superstition. It's just like the old recipes from. I don't know how you even call it.
How do you even hold that shit down? Like the minute it got to the back of my throat, I'd be puking my brains out. Ugh. The thought of drinking urine.
Well, I mean, that's
so nasty.
That's why
Mayweather made fun of him saying with this bottle of whatever that red stuff, whatever that nutrition drink, quote unquote, he was drinking, and was like, here we go with this bottle of gorilla piss.
Yeah, he called it silverback gorilla piss, which if I were to say that, or Jim were to say that, that'd be racist. But
right,
apparently Mayweather was able to get away with that. Listen, at the end of the day, I remember Vitaly Klitschko. He's got a PhD in sports science or whatever. He claimed that he would get his baby's urine, put it on wraps, and then wrap those bandages around his hand because supposedly they were good for the joints or whatever. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what? And he said that because babies.
What would he do?
He would put his baby's newborn baby's urine.
Oh yeah, that's true. No, that's not not only that, newborn. Now it's got to be like real newborn, like within a month old. Women in the old days used to take diapers of a newborn and put it on their face to regenerate their skin.
All right.
I'm telling you, I'm not sitting there fucking like bathing in it, but they would take a diaper and they would pat their face.
You think you're queer?
That's bullshit.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
Yeah, what type of show is going on here? I mean, this is getting a little out of hand, man. Let me tell you. Hey, let me ask Gonzalo what he thinks about this.
Nah, man, shut the fuck up.
There you go. He's telling us to shut the fuck up about this.
You make me want to vomit!
I'm telling you, man.
I don't know that guy no more.
Ah, come on.
Hey, Mr. BDA. Hey, Mr. BDA.
I remember one time Bucha was hosting, and I sneaked into the panel with my soundboard and I kept playing this.
Hey, Mr. BDA. Hey, Mr. BDA.
Gonzalo had to go, hey, I just want to make it known that's still me talking. Yeah, because people were going to get pissed. They thought he was interrupting the conversation, but just give Mr. BDA. So, Gonzalo, I just did that once. I wasn't ever going to do that twice because I get away with it once, that's it. I don't want to piss people off with that.
Lomito! Shut up.
There you go.
Lomito! Lomito!
Yep, I got them all here. Let me tell you. I don't have any Jimmy quotes here.
Don't think you have any of mine either.
Yeah, some. I mean, you guys don't actually. There's no outbursts.
Well, it's a part of my contract. I said I don't want nothing.
That's right.
I have to sign off on it.
We gotta pay him $100,000 every time we. Like Ryan Garcia, if he misses weight by a pound, he has to pay $100,000 per pound. Same thing with us. If we screw up once, Jimmy gets beaucoup money. I know I got something here to do with Jimmy though. Hold on.
I'm the forgotten panelist. People will call in, hey, Gonzalo, recognized, and the rest of the panel. I'm that last part.
Well, I mean, listen, you're inconsistent. One day you're here, another day you got to go to church.
No, that's fair. I took a sabbatical last year, and I've been on and off this year, so it's a fair statement.
Dude,
I don't want to hear any complaints.
Family ahead of the show. Can you imagine that?
Just imagine what kind of father am I to actually
Put his kids ahead of the show.
Recital and every track meet and every soccer game and not miss a damn thing. How dare I?
Shame on you!
There you go. Here's the only thing, Jimmy related thing I've got here. This from well, you guys know what it is.
Hey, Jimmy, what's right is right. You understand what I'm talking about?
That's the only thing. I usually play that when I got to address Jimmy. And
Hey, Jimmy, what's right is right. You understand what I'm talking about?
Can he start acting like a fucking jerk?
No, I mean, the kids over here, we're hugging and kissing over here, and 2 minutes later, he's acting like a fucking jerk.
Now, the best is when the guy, you can clearly tell the guy's drunk. He provocated Joe Pesci's character, and then at the end he goes,
I didn't insult him. I didn't insult him.
a little bit.
No, I didn't insult nobody. Give us a drink.
How can he still clamp down and claim he
a
didn't?
little bit. A little bit.
How can he clamp down and insist he didn't insult him when he clearly took a drink, thought about it, and then goes, now go home and get your fucking shot. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's when you need a guy like...
It's the mob cat. It's because growing up, well, obviously being a giddy, my age, I grew up when the mob was still powerful. Mm-hmm. And mobsters, remember, you can't put your hands on them. Like, literally, a gangster could come in, like, if you knew he was a made man, like, he could come into a bar and he could open hand slap you. Like, that was no joke. Like, you could not put your hands on a made man. They never said they were sorry. They never paid for a drink either. You would never see a mobster take money out. It's embarrassing. So, everything's always bought because somebody's buying them a drink. Yeah, it's in that world. But that's the reason why they're like that. They never admit they're wrong.
By the way, that's interesting, by the way. Yeah, that's those old school, they had way more power back then than they do now. Recognizing the chat says, me and Mr. BDA have a nice contract agreement. That's the thing, though. You can't talk about it. There's a non-disclosure agreement. But that's the only reason Recognize is back, by the way. I didn't want to spill the beans for everybody. And he asked me not to, but I'm going to do it anyway. The reason why Recognize was MIA for so long was because it's not because he had a lot of work. It's because there was a disagreement about the pay rate. He wanted more. I said, come on, Recognize. Let's be fair here, Bubba.
You're letting everybody know now, huh? Yeah, that's why it was hard to not talk about it. Yeah.
I know.
Hey,
he said,
you guys are getting paid?
I'm kidding. Well, listen.
No, that was 2 different movies, actually. That was the Street Fighter movie with the big Russian guy, and We Were the Millers, the red guy. Jennifer Aniston was saying, "You're getting this much," and then the redheaded girl goes, "Oh, wait a minute, you're getting more than me." And then the boy goes, "Wait, you guys are getting paid?"
Yeah.
Nah, man, nobody's getting paid here. I mean, well, actually, I guess the best pay is the fact that we make there's friendship involved. I guess that's the biggest prize of all. Don't you agree, fellas?
Oh, sure.
Three guys I never would have met otherwise that I'm friends with through Discord and long distance that I get to talk boxing with, which is my favorite thing to do. Let's see. When no one thought I'd ever going to be able to talk about it outside of high school.
Chief,
for
I
any
was
kind
being,
of production thing. So yeah. I think that's a fair trade.
I wasn't being serious. I don't know if you noticed, I couldn't even say that with a straight face before laughing. I mean, I don't give a shit about friendship. When we're all dead, what's friendship worth? I ask you. What's friendship worth after you're dead?
Well, it depends, man.
That's a second Renaissance question.
I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. Jeez Louise, don't get it twisted.
Speaking of that mob thing too, dude, know what I just heard the other night? This is interesting as fuck. I heard they're actually making people down in Providence now who aren't even 100% fucking Guinea.
Huh.
Like, I could have never been made because they couldn't trace my lineage on both sides.
Yeah.
I heard that they're making people now who are they made a half Portuguese, half Guinea.
Come on.
That blows my mind. Yeah, no, I'm serious. Because it's the mob's a shell of what it used to be because of the Rico statue. Giuliani took them out.
That's bizarre. Half Puerto Rican, half Ecuadorian. Imagine
half Portuguese.
I know, but I'm just saying. It's funnier if I say Ecuadorian. Imagine you go into the fucking social club there. You're expecting them to play Frank Sinatra or something. You go in there, they're playing salsa. I mean, come on, man. That's weird. You're not gonna see that in Goodfellas.
And I heard some Albanians were made too.
Okay, no, that's going too far, man. That's going too far. Ecuadorians, I guess. Ecuadorians I can deal with. Albanians, I mean, come on.
They are
listen,
psychos, though.
I guess that's the end of this episode. We got nothing left. Nothing. So we're going to go ahead.
Nothing.
Nothing. So we're going to go ahead
Punch
and leave.
the fucking like button on the way out the door and leave a comment, you sons of bitches. God bless.
God bless everybody. I'm actually, you know what? These fucking drinks, they make me sleepy, man. Alcohol makes me sleepy. That's why I try not to drink during the show because then I fall asleep.
That's why it's a depressant.
There you go,
BDA,
man. Yeah.
I broke 160. I
Yeah, I
broke
heard about
160,
that.
so like I've gone down 40 pounds now. I'm not keep going to 150.
Good for you, brother. That's awesome.
150.
And listen, I
something because you're dropping pounds left and right, and I'm finding all of them.
there you go. Yeah, my wife said that once. I lost 7 pounds. I'm like, look behind you. You'll find it. You fucking.
Oh.
And she smacked me. I was joking, of course, but it was in front of people. She didn't think that was funny. But yeah, no, dude. A lot of people too. Like I tweeted at me and said some shit like about alcohol. Like want to know how bad. Listen, I can't stress enough. It would be better for a fighter. No bullshit. To do cocaine, to do heroin, not fucking before alcohol. Alcohol and benzos are the only narcotic that the human body doesn't replicate. Like every narcotic you take, takes something you already have, serotonin or endorphins, and it heightens it. Alcohol, it's the reason why there's only 2 you can die detoxing. You might feel like you're going to die coming off heroin, but you're not. You're going to suffer, but you're not going to die. Alcohol, you can seize and die. That's why like hospitals or rehabs, or even in the jails, they'll call codes all the time because a dude will come in and start seizing on the floor. That and benzos. That's how much damage the alcohol does to the body. Like it takes 72 full hours. I don't care how hard you worked out. Whatever you did for 72 hours before heavy drinking is not only destroyed for the next 3 days. You're not going to regrow any muscle tissue. It's so bad for a professional boxer to drink. Any professional athlete, never mind a boxer.
Yeah, and they don't get it, man. I mean, they get shit. You know, the worst thing is there's different types of alcoholics. There's the constant alcoholic, or I forget the exact term, where it's somebody that drinks every day. And then you get the occasional alcoholic, which is a guy that's going to binge for 2 days. He won't drink the rest of the day, but when he drinks, he'll get fucked up, and that's an alcoholic.
Yeah, weekend alcoholics. Yeah,
exactly.
Weekend alcoholics. They can't. An alcoholic, man, really just follow. Do you ever drink more than you intend? Do you ever tell yourself you're not going to drink, but drink anyways? Those are just simple things like that, whether you're an alcoholic. If you say yes to any of those. But yeah, no. And I'll tell you right now, Errol Spence is he drinks way. I mean, to see him, yeah, I do buy, baby. I mean, to be that fucking blind drunk, that's not an occasional drinker. That's someone who fucking, double fists the shit. So that's why I don't think.
He must have been, I don't know if that was alcohol, man. That must have been something.
Yeah, the way he was slurring, I think his girl was making fun of him. I think she wanted to show him how drunk you get.
It's insane, man.
Yeah, no, he was slurring his word. Yeah, that was just totally fucking blind drunk. And he slurs his words because he's a Texan, so they kind of talk slow with a draw. But even when he was doing that, I don't know if you saw him at that fight, and they were talking to him, some media person.
Oh yeah, yeah,
slurring and shit. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah. He's got he looks like he's perpetually high. So I guess when he mixes alcohol with that natural high of his, it just goes wayside. I gotta tell you, I didn't enjoy the drinking too much today. It's been a while since I drank, and today I remembered why I don't drink that often. It's not the only thing I needed it for was to calm me down, because when it'd been a long time since we'd done this film analysis, and if you think I speak fast most of the time, you should have seen what could have happened had I not been a little tipsy today with this film analysis, juggling 3 things at the same time. So that's the only reason why I did it. I don't think I'm gonna do it again. Unless we do, I've been meaning to do this, open lines drinking episode. You can't get in unless you're drinking something. That's something that I got.
Does iced coffee count?
Jimmy, stop it. I'm talking an alcoholic drink. No, actually, yeah, we
could make
smoking. Now we could make exceptions. But yeah, ultimately it would be like bring your own drink type of stuff, just to see what happens. See if it gets extra chaotic while we do this show.
B.O.B., bring your own booze. What about bring your own bud? I'll blaze up.
Bring your own blood? Jimmy, what the fuck are you talking about? All right, well, listen. We got to go. Shout out to everybody that joined us. I'm talking about Jimmy. I'm talking about Gonzalo. Chief was here as well earlier. Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody that donated the super chat. And everybody here right now. I'm talking about who we got here in the chat. Nez Mendoza, Mac Dre, Lucky Zim, Alfredo Contreras, EO572, Lil Mac, Tyson Punch-Out, Joker in the house. Shout out to Joker. Recognize the Matrix. Officer 50, SAPAR, Weedy Gonzalez, Jump Tube, Straight Man, Evla, some weird name here. I don't know what that was. Super Anderson, Aldo in the house. Shout out to him. Alonzo, Amazing, Shadow Combat, Lil Mac, Straight Man, and many more people. Guys, thank you. You know who you are. Can't get to all of you, but you know who you are. Thank you for joining us. We'll appreciate it. We'll try to return with another episode tomorrow. Definitely one on Friday. We'll catch you on the next one, fellas. Take it easy. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out. Hit the like. Take it easy, folks. Thanks for watching.
I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.